Motorsports coverage presents Speed World. Today, live from Darlington Raceway in South Carolina, it's the Transouth 500. And the showers that were predicted earlier this week will not happen today, as we have bright sunshiny skies and temperature in the low 60s. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins, and welcome to Darlington, and welcome to another year of Winston Cup race coverage here on ESPN. We'll televise 16 Winston Cup events for you during the 1992 season, including the season capper at Atlanta in November. Now, as we enter this fifth race of the season, the Winston Cup Quest for the Cup point standings show us that the Daytona 500 winner, Davey Allison, is on top. Bill Elliott, who has won the last three races, and Harry Gant are tied for second position. In the second five, notice there in eighth position, the current Winston Cup reigning champion, Dale Earnhardt. And believe it or not, he has not led a single lap in the first four races of the 92 season. The other big story in Winston Cup racing is the Ford domination. They've won all four events this year. They won the last four last year. Ned and Benny have more on that.
You're right, Bob. Everywhere we go, the fans want to know what's NASCAR going to do about the Fords. They've won 8 in a row. But Ned, last year, the GM cars won 9 in a row to start the season in 1991. But I think the fans' mindset is Ford versus Chevrolet. Last year, Chevrolet won a couple, then Pontiac won a race. Chevrolet won a couple more. Pontiac won another one. Chevrolet won a couple more, then an Oldsmobile. But in the Ford team's mindset, that's General Motors versus Ford. They say, hey, GM won 9 in a row. What are you screaming about? We won 8 in a row.
Well, you know, Benny, one thing that has helped the Fords win those 8 in a row is Bill Elliott and the emergence with he and Junior Johnson and the Budweiser team this year. Don't think even Junior and Bill expected them to do as well as they have, winning the last 3 races. Now, Bill Elliott has a lot going for him this year that he hasn't had in a long time. He has a good team. Of course, he's had a good team in the past, but he has not had to be involved in the day-to-day operations and worried about the business end of it. Now, all he's got to worry about is taking care of the sponsor and driving that race car, and that's what he likes to do best. And another thing that he has going for him is Lady Luck, something that he hasn't had since maybe 1988 when he won the Winston Cup Championship. Talk about luck. Now, Jerry, some of the drivers might need some here today in getting their cars set up.
You're exactly right, Ned. In fact, 4 days ago, NASCAR faxed the crew chiefs notification they had increased the maximum square inches allowed for the rear spoiler by some 90 square inches, from 280 a year ago, or in fact a week ago, to 370. Now, the combinations vary depending upon height and width. You take height versus width times width to give you the maximum. But this is the old spoiler here off the Morgan Shepherd Wood Brothers car. Take a look at the new spoiler I will put behind it. Obviously about 1.5 inches or 2 inches taller. Now, everyone in NASCAR, most of the crews have applauded this, saying that it gives them more of a margin of safety. They can adjust the car now rather than maxing out the car early on. Don't have to jack all that wedge in the car and possibly risk tearing up a tire. But, and it's a big but, they haven't had a chance to go to the wind tunnel and test it yet. So they'll be on track testing today for some 500 miles. Some concern here by the crew chiefs, and a big roll of the dice by a lot of them. For other concerns on pit road, let's go to John Kernan.
Well, Jerry, one of the most important concerns today right here, these big round rubber black things, the tires I'm talking about, and tire wear. Darlington, so tough here because of a combination of sand, smashed seashells that find their way out on the racetrack. They literally eat these babies up. So we're going to see a lot of 4 tire changes today. That means a lot of work for the Goodyear guys, the tire busters, as they make a lot of changes today. And also, Bob, some enormous tire bills for the car owners.
Couple of things to watch for on pit road today. Now let's take a look at the die-hard starting grid for today's Transouth 500. On the pole with a new track record of 163.067 is Sterling Marlin from Columbia, Tennessee, driving the number 22 Maxwell House Coffee Ford. His teammate on the outside of the front row is Bill Elliott in the Budweiser Ford, car number 11. In the second row, from Modesto, California, Ernie Irvin in the number 4 Kodak Film Chevrolet, and then Brett Bodine in the Quaker State Ford, car number 26. The third row, Davey Allison from Hueytown, Alabama, in the Haviland Ford, car number 28. And then the number 17 Western Auto Chevrolet, driven by Darrell Waltrip from Franklin, Tennessee. Greg Sachs will start 7th in the Kellogg Chevrolet, car number 41, and in 8th starting spot from Kannapolis, North Carolina, the number 3 GM Goodwrench Chevrolet, driven by Dale Earnhardt. 9th and 10th starting positions go to Dale Jarrett in car number 18 and Dave Mader III in number 9. A great qualifying performance by Dave. The 6th row, Harry Gant in 33 and Jeff Bodine in 15. The 7th row, Morgan Shepherd and then Mark Martin. And as you take a look at the rest of the starting lineup for this event, 39 cars strong here today. And a huge crowd is on hand as we get set to go racing. This isn't our first telecast of a race this year. We did, of course, 3 events from Daytona, but it's our first live telecast of a Winston Cup event, and we are excited. Right, guys?
And we are ready to go. Doyle Ford has told the drivers the next time by, expect a green flag. So, what, about 40 seconds from now, they'll go barreling down in turn 1.
And we will be off and running for another year of Winston Cup racing. Let's take a look at the track description here. It's 1.366 miles in length, pole speed 163.067, a time of 30.157 seconds. We'll go 367 laps, and the field is separated by 4.5 seconds. Now, Darlington Raceway is sort of egg-shaped. You'll notice that the first and second turns are sharper than the third and fourth, and we have a pit road here on the main straightaway and also one on the backstretch. Turn 4 is the area to watch for. We've seen lots of crashes there in the past. The field now is in turn number 3 and will begin accelerating soon for the start of the race.
And the third qualifier, Ernie Irvin, made a pit stop on the parade lap, came down the pits, will have to start dead last. There he is, dead last on the field.
Irvin, of course, was injured in a Busch Grand National race at Atlanta and started the race but didn't compete in it. But he is on the tail of the field as we get set for ESPN Speed World coverage of Winston Cup racing in 92. The green flag is out. The Transouth 500 is underway.
Something's got to give now. Side by side, Bill Elliott takes the lead down in turn 3.
Boy, they get in single file in a hurry when they head into that turn.
Here's Jerry Punch.
Well, you heard Bob, you heard Benny Parsons mention a minute ago that they had come on pit road during the pace lap. The clutch was not working. This morning they found a crack in the oil pan, so they rapidly changed the engine. They had bad luck, and now that bad luck has gone from bad to worse. He cannot shift the car. He was in first gear, having to run less than about 60 miles an hour around here. Now they have brought the car down pit road. They will jack it up, put it on 4 jack stands. Tony Glover and the crew climb beneath the car. And certainly a long day already for Ernie Irvin. As Jeff Bodine is already slowing down, he too having trouble.
This is definitely an unscheduled situation for him. He was one of the favorites in this race today, but Jeff Bodine in the Motorcraft Ford coming down pit road. Boy, they'll tell you, it's tough to get behind early here in this race, Ben. It's awfully hard to make up.
John Kernan is there in the Jeff Bodine pit.
They go to work on the right side of the car. They're going to change 2 tires. We just got here. We think that he possibly has a tire going down already. Crew looking around on the right side. They get the 2 tires changed, and he is away, and the crew not pleased.
Is the leader of the race. Davey Allison running second, then Harry Gant. The battle for 4th position is between our pole sitter Sterling Marlin and Greg Saxon, 41 on the inside, as he takes over that spot.
And that was Brett Bodine in the Quaker State Ford that went by the 22 car into 3rd spot.
Here's Earnhardt trying to make a move on Sterling Marlin. Marlin's car apparently not handling too well, dropping back through the field a little bit. Greg Sachs, you got to be impressed with this guy. He has run good in every race so far this year, has had very good qualifying runs, and showing what he can do here early in the race.
Harry Hyde, who took Tim Richmond to glory back in 1986, working on that car along with Dennis Cotter, some people that was with Harry back in the 86 season.
Waltrip going around Earnhardt down on the inside. Let's see if he slides up and Earnhardt drives back under it. He slides up. Earnhardt's tried that move back on the inside. Boy, you see it so many times here at Darlington.
Pulling alongside and taking the position away from them.
Here comes Dale Jarrett on the inside of Darrell Waltrip now. Has position going in turn 1. No, he backs off. He thought better of that and backed off a little bit. Good move by Dale Jarrett.
And that is Harry Gant behind Dale Jarrett. Then comes Dave Mader driving the number 9 Melling car this weekend. Back Back up front, meanwhile, it is Bill Elliott setting the pace here in the early going with Davey Allison running second and Brett Bodine in the quicker State Ford running in third spot. Welcome to Winston Cup Racing on ESPN. We'll be right back. Darlington Raceway in South Carolina, hosting the 5th event of the 1992 Winston Cup season, the Transouth 500, and we're glad you could join us live here on ESPN Speed World. And our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Goodyear, #1 in tires. And by Fram Oil Filters. Fram, you can pay a little now or a lot later. The exciting Gillette Halfway Challenge is coming up in today's race. A driver leading at the halfway point will win $10,000, and a fan at home will have a chance to win a Chevrolet Lumina Z34. In addition, if you have the correct UPC code from a Gillette product, such as right guard and sensor, you could win an instant prize. Now, to win or call 1-900-436-7000 before the halfway lap. The call will cost you 95 cents. You must be 18 years of age or over to enter. If your entry is selected and you were called at home, you can name the driver who was leading at the halfway point. The Gillette Halfway Challenge will award you a Chevrolet Lumina Z34.
Boy, am I glad you got to do that, because we have got some excitement on the racetrack.
It is Elliott up front, Davey Allison right behind, and Brett Bodine running a very close third.
Brett Bodine, this is maybe the best race he's ever had on a big racetrack, Ned. He went very well at North Wilkesboro a couple of times, but a big racetrack, he is really running well.
The car seems to really be hooked up for him, and that is a key here at Darlington. He likes this racetrack. He likes the tracks that get slick and maybe not quite as high banked as Daytona and some of those, and knows how to set a car up to get around those. Davey Allison apparently has his car set up pretty good too.
Well, every 15 minutes or so during the entire race, we're going to bring you a field summary. This one's sponsored by Fram. Watch for your favorite driver as we run down the entire field standings at this moment. Now, this isn't from 5 laps ago or 6 laps ago. It is current, up-to-date information. So watch for these about every 15 minutes as we keep you informed as to where your favorite driver is running in Winston Cup races. First 3 continue to run in the same order, but Davey Allison now on the low side of Bill Elliott is trying to take away that top position. Elliott has led all the way so far, and we are 15 laps into this event. Now Davey will pull alongside and try to take first place going into turn 3. He has it. Let's see if it'll stick.
It is going to stick, because Bill Elliott right now, he realizes Davey is a little bit faster, so there's no point in getting back in front of him this early in the race.
Notice in 34th and 35th positions, Teague and Bodine are already a lap down. That's what the -1 indicates. And you can see that James Hilton, for instance, is 6 laps down, and Ernie Irvin, because of that early pit stop, is 12 laps down already.
No, Ernie Irvin is still sitting down there, so being worked on the car. And Kerry Teague was just black flagged by NASCAR in the Team USA car. Spitfire spark plug, so he's taking his car to the pits.
Now let's go down to John Kernan, who has more on the situation in the pits.
Actually, Bob, we're talking about Brett Bodine, how well he's running here today. It's the same car he ran at Rockingham. It's a brand new Mike Laughlin car that they put their own special snout on. Remember what happened last year when Harry Gant's crew, Andy Petrie, used the special snout they had? Well, Brett Bodine was running 4th at Rockingham with just 18 laps to go, and he had a flat tire. But he's hoping that won't happen today. He just passed the car number 11. He said, we are going to be awfully, awfully competitive today. And right now, he's living up to his word.
He sure is, Jerry. Sorry for the bad reference there. And talk about a team that has had their share of bad luck during the 92 season. They've had a couple of races where they've been very competitive, but their best finish has been an 8th, and they were the first out of the event at the Daytona 500 because of the distributor problem. And they had also mechanical problems during Richmond. They finished 20th at Atlanta in the most recent Winston Cup event. But right now, Brett Bodine is running in second spot to our leader, Davey Allison.
Davey Allison has pulled away once he moved around Bill Elliott. Of course, with Brett Bodine taking a lap to get around Elliott, that gave Davey some breathing room to run away. Let's go to the pits and John Kernan.
Ned, you know, at the beginning, I told you about the things that get up on the racetrack. Well, that's exactly what happened to Jeff Bodine. He ran over a big piece of something that cut a chunk out of the tire. It's from the right rear. It went flat. He had to come in and change it. Cost him a lot of valuable time out there on the pits. And also down pit road is Jerry Punch with a report on Ernie Irvan.
And for all you Ernie Irvan fans, he is back on the racetrack. They have put shims behind the clutch so it'll engage and disengage properly, but unfortunately the Kodak film Chevrolet has lost, as we calculate, about 18 laps.
Back on the track now and apparently up to speed. Ernie Irvan has a long way to catch up, though, in this one.
Well, when he went into this race with those injuries that he received, he was a little bit sore and hurting a little bit, but if he was up there running up front, that wouldn't bother him. But after losing that many laps in the pits, he's going to be hurting all day.
He might be screaming for a relief driver in about 20 laps.
And one thing that we were told earlier today is that Davey Allison was not feeling well, perhaps suffering from a little bit of the flu bug, and I think maybe the same situation in this case. Not bothering right now because that car is working well and he's got it out front.
There is our leader, Davey Allison, but here is the race for fourth. That 22 car, the blue one, is Sterling Marlin. He started on the pole. He's fourth. Fifth is Earnhardt, the black 3. That's Kyle Petty just went by.
Dale Jarrett and
Harry Gant back there.
And Harry Gant.
That's Jarrett going by Darrell Waltrip. Western Autos Chevrolet, the interstate battery car driven by Dale Jarrett.
Old Harry just sitting back there watching all that racing. Hasn't slid that car a bit. He's just keeping her right in a good straight groove as he normally does. Takes care of those tires. We'll hear from him after a while.
And Alan Kowicki's come up and joined that group of cars. And Alan Kowicki started way back in the field, so he must have his car hooked up.
He started so far back that he has to pit on the backstretch here. Being, I think he qualified in 25th position, and that means he's pitting on the backstretch. So that's going to be a detriment to him all day long, especially during caution flag pit stops.
Harry Gant running in 9th position, won the Southern 500 here at Darlington during his great winning streak during the month of September. And now Harry looks to the inside at Darrell Waltrip as they come down the front straightaway, but he'll fall back behind Darrell.
Darrell's car maybe beginning to go away a little bit on him. He was really strong right at the first of the race, but now he's here comes Brett Bodine.
Wow, look at Brett past Davey Allison going into turn number 3. Now, will this stick? Davey fights back on the inside in the middle of the 3rd and 4th corners. He takes the position back.
And what Brett is trying to bring it back, because Brett Bodine, has he led a lap this year?
He has not led a lap this year, and he hasn't yet.
He still hasn't led a lap.
Yeah, he took the lead, but the official timing is at the start-finish line, and he'll try that again. Now, the thing he needs to do is learn a lesson from Robert Presley yesterday in the Busch Grand National race on the last lap when he slowed down going into that turn, kept the inside groove, and as a result went on Hill Harry Gant.
Wasn't that a great finish yesterday when Robert Presley took over the lead on the final lap from Harry Gant and went on to victory?
And there's trouble, Dale. That's Sterling Marlin.
Marlin, the pole sitter, is up against the wall in the 3rd turn. He has it down off the wall, but the yellow flag is out for the first time this afternoon. Marlin, the pole sitter in the Maxwell House Ford, has come in contact with the wall. You can see the sheet metal rubbing against the tire here on the right side with considerable damage.
That tire's not even rolling because he's got some heavy damage to that car. The sheet metal's knocked back onto the tires.
This happened right in front of Kyle Petty there on the left side of your screen. Let's see as we look to the left. The car just took off and went toward the wall, Ned.
That tire went flat going into that turn. And look at Earnhardt. Boy, he has to cut almost square left. Did a great job. Here's Dale Jarrett coming under there, hoping he stays up against the wall, and sure enough, he does.
You're right, the tire had to go flat, or there was oil. I went in that corner one time and hit a spot of water oil, and the car just went straight in the wall. And here come all the cars in the pits.
In Davey Allison's pit, here's Jerry Punch.
And Larry McReynolds and the Texaco Haviland crew waiting on Davey Allison. The crews are very anxious to get an early caution. They didn't want it to be at the expense of one of the competitors, but they want to get a chance to look at the tire wear. Remember what John Curtin said at the opening of the show? Tire wear, very critical here. In fact, many of these teams yesterday after the Busch race went out and ran 25, 30 laps, and they said that within 35 laps the tires were gone. Work continues now on the left side of the Davey Allison car. Let's go up to John Curtin.
Your second place car, Brett Bodine, just finishing up a 4-tire change. The car has been running just a little bit tight on him, so they took a half a round to bite.
Bodine is going out, so is Earnhardt and Gant and the others. Dale Earnhardt will be 3rd in line as they line up for the restart.
How many times have we seen him run? Well, he was running 5th before this caution came out. and moved up a couple of positions in the pits. The Richard Childress team have always done a good job getting him in and out the pits.
Under caution for the first time this afternoon on lap 26 of the Transouth 500 from Darlington, South Carolina. Back after these messages.
Talk to him about.
Elmo Langley has the field in tow in the Pontiac pace car. Under caution for the first time this afternoon. Sterling Marlin making contact with the wall up in turn number 3 has driven the car to the garage area.
Is that Gary Nelson in the back of the hoop? He had a rider in that car, didn't he?
I
don't know.
I didn't see.
I was looking at Elmo, admiring him, so I didn't pay much attention to the back seat.
I looked the other way.
He does have a passenger, but well, we just completed some pit stops, and Todd Parrott of Rusty Wallace's Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac crew is wearing our crew cam this afternoon, and this is what it looked like to Todd Parrott as Rusty came in.
Todd Parrott is the guy that carries the tires over the wall. We see him going around the jack man. Right rear comes off. He rolls the tire in. Now he stands by to make sure all the lug nuts are on. Otherwise, he will stick one on. Now he rolls the tire back over. Gets the left rear tire. As soon as that tire comes off, wow, he rolls that tire into the left rear tire changer. Stands back and watch Rusty Wallace drive away. Nothing to it, about 22 seconds.
Yeah, it looked like he was standing on his head a few times, but he wasn't.
Let's check on tire wear as we go to Jerry Punch with Tim Brewer.
Bob, a big concern early today was tire wear. You've now had a pit stop, Tim, and have been able to bring the Budweiser car in and take 4 tires off. What do they look like?
Well, you know, you're going to see a little bit of wear down here because the guys are running the corners. You know, our car's a little bit loose. We put around a wedge in the thing, and we'll get a little bit better gauge on, you know, this next long run, hopefully.
You still don't think they'll go a full fuel stop, a full 70 laps?
Well, you know, the guys are running pretty hard today, and, you know, they're kind of abusing these things a little bit. So they'll settle down after a while, and everything will come out pretty good, I think.
That's Tim Brewer, and he's smiling for a reason. They've won 3 in a row. Let's check in the garage area with John Kernan.
Jerry, I'm with Sterling Marlin, a very disappointed Sterling Marlin. And Sterling, from the replays, it looks like a tire may have gone down. Did you feel it before it happened?
No, it didn't. Went in the back straightaway, and everything's normal, and let off going 3, and the car never turned. I don't know if you know, something broke on the suspension or run over something, cut a tire, but the car never turned when we got there.
Well, they're doing a lot of work on it right now, including suspension, a little bit of everything, trying to get back out there and get as many points as you can.
Yeah, we are. We're going to, you know, get back out, and you know, we come up 14th in the points, and you can't give up nothing. We're going to be back.
There you have it from Sterling Marlin. As the work continues down here in the garage area, you can see that he brushed the wall pretty hard. They're working underneath with the suspension. They're changing a sway bar and also a shock on the right front.
Work continuing on Sterling's car in the garage area while the field is still under caution. We'll take another break and be right back to Darlington. Cars enter the backstretch after having just taken the green. You missed less than 15 seconds of green flag activity, and Davey Allison, as you can see, is the leader of the race. Now, the 15 car of Jeff Bodine not on the lead lap, and neither is the 4 car, of course, of Bernie Irvin, who spent many laps in the pits very early in the race. Running in second spot at the moment is Dale Earnhardt.
Davey Allison is just not getting in turn 1 well at all. We see Jeff Bodine moved up right on the back bumper going down in turn 1. This is the rip cam on Mark Martin's Valvoline Ford, also telemetry.
Our Ford telemetry showing you the RPM. You can tell when he gets on the brake, and the fact that he's in 4th gear, and of course on the lower right is the speed of the car. And you'll notice they will reach somewhere around 175 or so miles an hour before, well,
how about 180
before backing off and getting on the brakes very lightly entering the turns.
Yeah, that'll change after a while. In fact, in about 10 more laps, that'll change a little bit. That top speed will. Yeah, you're right, Bob, because those tires get heated up and they slow down a little bit. But right now, they're running at the maximum speeds.
I think that brake light is very fascinating. You can see just how very little they're on the brake as they enter the corners. Now the battle for second position. Brett Bodine on the inside of Dale Earnhardt into turn number 1. Brett will back off slightly, allowing Dale to keep that position. Now Brett will fight back and try to take over second spot coming out of turn number 2. Good race down the backstretch, and Brett has second.
He just cleared him coming off that corner, pulled in front of him. Now, if he drifts up, Earnhardt will try that old trick that Ned was talking about. But no, Brett Bodine's car just too fast. through the middle of the corner for Earnhardt to do that.
T3, 4, and 5 right here. Brett Bodine, Dale Earnhardt, then Bill Elliott and Harry Gant.
Harry Gant must have done a good job.
They did.
Got him up in 6th spot.
Fifth place, yeah. He was running 7th before the caution, so they picked up a couple of spots in the pit.
Elliott moves up on the back bumper of Earnhardt.
Jerry talked about those rear spoilers and the fact that the size of them has been increased, and they are visibly larger. I mean, you can very easily tell by looking at the cars that the size of the rear spoilers have been increased. Now here comes Kyle Petty up to challenge Harry Gant.
Kyle was running good before the caution, Bob. He was moved into the top 5 and lost a couple of positions during the pit stop, but coming back up through there again.
We talked about Kyle Petty and Rockingham and just how well that he runs there, but this is a good racetrack going too. As we're watching the Flam field summary, this is how the cars are running right now. As you're watching the action, this is how they are positioned on the racetrack. Rusty Wallace in 10th spot. Schrader 9th. Strickland, Marlin, we see Ricky Rudd in 15th. And here comes Kyle Petty on the inside of Harry Gant.
Trying to take over the position from Harry Gant. He does.
Well, I tell you, the folks on the technical side of this thing doing a great job. We can see how the cars are running all back through the field. At the same time, continue to see the race.
Well, that's one of the things that our viewers have told us over the years. They want to know where their particular driver is running, and sometimes we won't be able to get back to them and show them as often as we would like, but at least during our field summaries, we'll show you where they are running at that particular moment. And notice now the numbers on the right are laps down, and Jimmy Spencer, you can see, is out of the race. He was running in 33rd position, but he will drop now since he has retired that car.
Tough break for Travis Carter and Black Molly Gold entry.
And Dr. Jerry Punch has a comment on Harry Gant's performance.
Gentlemen, Harry Gant has complained to his crew just a minute ago that he has a serious push in the car, and of course that means he can't get the car to turn in the corners. You saw Kyle Petty go by him a minute ago, and if Darrell Waltrip can catch him, Harry Gant's going to be fair game for about 15 or 20 laps until he can get that push to go away and get the car to handle in the corner. Gant, a lot of speed, but the car not handling in the corner, so right now he's struggling in fighting the steering wheel.
One thing that he has to be careful of, Jerry, is to not push that car too hard, especially going into the turns, and heat that right front tire up. A push will make it do that, and boy, the problem multiplies if you do that. But Harry Gant is one of the best in the business at conserving his tires. Looks like he's doing okay there now. He's keeping a good distance between he and Harry Gant.
Shepard this afternoon. As you can see, Ricky Rudd just ahead in the Tide Chevrolet.
Talked to the Wood boys this morning. I didn't see Morgan over by the car, but I did talk to Eddie and Lynn Wood, and they said the car they're having trouble getting the car to not push. He's talking about Harry Gant having a pushing problem. That's the problem that Morgan has been complaining about all week here at Darlington. The car pushing through the corner, trying to just go straight and not turn well.
Mark Martin just ahead of Ricky Rudd, who is just ahead of Morgan. There's a roof cam on Mark Martin's car.
You hear Martin back off the gas now. He's full on the throttle down the front straightaway. Back up to about 175 miles an hour right there. Hit the brakes. 175. Can you imagine Sterling Marlin running 175 miles per hour, going to corner, turning straight away? Nothing happened.
Something did happen when he went into the turn, because he got into that wall, unfortunately.
Ricky Rudd, at number 5, is the defending champion on this race. He won his only event of 1991 here a year ago, and he started today in 18th position.
And that's 14th now. That's 13th, 14th, 15th. Martin 13th.
Shepard looking inside, and as we look back from Mark Martin's car, we can see that battle developing and the 4 telemetry once again.
Well, that big spoiler almost takes away our picture back there.
Yeah, it does.
Made a big difference as they stand those things up on a track like this.
Morgan does take that position away from Rudd.
Hey, look at Richard behind that. There's the King coming up into, what's that, 16th spot?
Trailing Ricky Rudd by not too many car positions. There's the King.
Richard's already finished in 16th spot about either 2 or 3 times this year. I know it has been at least twice. He finished 16th in the Daytona 500.
He's finished 16th 3 times. He finished at Daytona, Rockingham, and Atlanta. He finished 16th. The other race he was 21st. There is the leader, Davey Allison, at the conclusion of 345 laps out of 367 that will make up the Trans-South 500. Once again, here's how to win the Gillette Halfway Challenge Sweepstakes. Call 1-900-436-7000 before the halfway lap. The call will cost you 95 cents. You must be 18 years of age or over to enter. Stay tuned to see which driver wins the $10,000 reward. And if your entry is selected, you're called at home. You will win a Chevrolet Lumina Z34 if you can name the driver who won the Gillette Halfway Challenge. And you can win an instant prize if you have the correct UPC code from a Gillette product.
All right, here comes Kyle Petty. Passing Bill Elliott going down in turn 3. That's, oh, man, that's terrible about how that much hair.
That's for 4th place. Kyle Petty going to 4th. Dale Earnhardt remains in 3rd. The leader is Davey Allison, and 2nd place is Brett Bodine.
This is Kyle's best run of the year.
They sat on the pole at Rockingham and ran good for the first 25 or 30 laps. And then after that, the car went away, and it was history. I agree with him. It's a very good run for him.
He's had a couple of top 10 finishes, though, this year. He was 6th in the Daytona 500 and 8th at Atlanta.
And we see Kyle Petty once again. Remember last year when he came down on the apron of the racetrack? This year again, clipping that apron awfully low coming off turn 4.
Now here's Ken Schrader, who runs back in 9th position after starting 15th. And John Kernan has a report from the pit. Kenny Schrader.
Bob, I'm telling you, it's already been a long day for Kenny Schrader, Richard Broom, and the Kodiak Injury crew. They have had a problem with the throttle sticking at first, is what they thought. They thought a carburetor float might be sticking, so they've got a new carburetor out, ready to go on the car if need be. Then the car started missing, so they think it's a coil problem, possibly in the ignition box. So they've got a new ignition box and a new coil out, ready to go in case the car quits running. But just moments ago, Kenny radioed in and told Richard that, hey, I smell something burning. So it could be an electrical problem. He may be in shortly, but he's going to stay out on the track as long as he can.
Hey, he's running pretty good, be having those kind of problems. He's holding his own out there.
Yeah, with all those difficulties, Schrader is running okay. He's in 8th position right now. And you saw the change of 3rd a few moments ago as Kyle Petty went inside of Dale Earnhardt and went into 3rd place. A little bit of a fishtail coming off 4th corner.
They'll do that about every lap, it seems like.
Now, Brett Bodine is still in 2nd position, racing alongside his brother, Jeff Bodine, who is a lap down. But Brett, number 26, is in 2nd spot.
Yeah, I thought Jeff they saw this car here. I thought Jeff might move over or slow down and let Brett go on, but he didn't do it. He said, brother, I'm going to make you race for it, even though Jeff is 1 lap down as a result of the unscheduled pit stop. And you can see he's getting the move over flag, and Brett's going to move him over himself.
This is no brotherly love here.
But Jeff realizes that, okay, now he's gone. Brett has gone by, but Jeff wanted to stay in front as long as he could. If something happened to Davey Allison, then Brett becomes the leader. Caution flag comes out. He makes up a lap. So at this stage of the race, I didn't blame Jeff for racing him as hard as he could.
Kenny Bernstein, the owner of that 26 car, driven by Brett Bodine, of course, the first driver over 300 miles an hour in drag racing a couple of weekends ago. Now here's the Hut Strickland car, number 12, and Darrell Waltrip going for position.
And Hut just moved around Darrell Waltrip. Darrell's car runs awfully good on new, fresh tires, and then it begins to slip a little bit on him. He's still running in good shape in 10th position. But he drops back a little bit after the tires get heated.
There's Rusty Wallace in 11th place, moving in behind Darrell Waltrip. So VW.
John Kernan has a comment on Darrell Waltrip.
Well, Bob, on lap 27, they changed the tires. All 4 tires on Darrell's car were worn out. That means they have missed the chassis setup, but Jeff Hammond and the crew will continue working on that all day, and as you say, he is still running pretty well, but after 27 laps, tires completely worn out.
Well, most of them thought they would be able to go 45 or maybe straining it to 50 laps, but 27 laps, that is tough.
That probably will get better as the day goes on. As these fellas get more rubber on the racetrack, the tire wear will increase. So at the end of the race, I think the cars, they might even be able to run the entire length of the gas stop on a set of tires. And there's a spot for 4th. Elliott drives under him, and well, does he have him or doesn't he?
Well, yeah, he's got it. His spotter should tell him, yeah, move over. He does have him.
Elliott 4th, Earnhardt now 5th, and Gant lurking in the 6th position. There he is, about 5 car lengths behind Dale.
I think Earnhardt is another of those that after his tires gets heated up that his car begins to go away a little bit.
Yeah, he was.
Hard to believe that he hasn't led a lap this year in Winston Cup competition.
Yep, the defending Winston Cup 5-time champion. There's the interval between that group of cars and the leader, Davey Allison.
There's Davey.
59 laps completed for the Daytona 500 winner. Several drivers have not led a lap this year in Winston Cup competition that you normally think of as pretty dominant in this sport. But look at this list, including Earnhardt, Ricky Rudd, Ernie Irvan, Mark Martin, Rick Mast, Jeff Bodine, and Dave Marcus. All of those drivers have not led a lap in the first 4 events of 92. We'll be right back. Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, Dr. Jerry Punch back at Darlington Raceway in the Transouth 500, where Davey Allison, the Hamilton Ford car number 28, leads this race. There is Dave Mader, who is leading a group of cars down the front straightaway and into turn number 1. Michael Waltrip is also there. Also Terry Labonte and Derek Cope.
Derek Cope has a new crew chief. Barry Dodson took that job this week.
Right behind Derek is the car number 1. Rick Mast. Right behind him is Wally Dallenbach Jr.
And Michael Waltrip led, you'll recall, 208 laps of this event last year. Was leading at the halfway point. Experienced some problems. Michael Waltrip right now behind him, seeing the battle between Terry Labonte and Derek Cope.
That white car we just saw right at the tail end. There you go, behind Wally Dallenbach. Ted Musgrave. I got to give a call for that young man. He has been doing a super job this year. That 55 car Jasper engine car has been running with the leaders all year long.
Buddy Parrott, of course, the crew chief on that car.
He's had some good qualifying positions this year, and as Benny says, has run up there with the leaders.
Best finish of the year, an 8th at Daytona. Our Fram Field summary again. Watch for your favorite. They're in the top 5 as Elliott and Gant have both been able to get around Dale Earnhardt's now down to 6th, and Rick Mast is side by side with Derek Cope and taking the position as they come out of the second turn onto the backstretch. There's Wally Dallenbach also moving up.
Running his first race ever here on the track they call Too Tough to Tame. He's doing pretty well. I was talking to Jack Roush, who owns the Keystone Beer Ford, and he said the boy has adapted real well. But being a road racer, like Wally Dallenbach Jr. is, this racetrack maybe would serve them pretty well.
I think it would. I think this is a racetrack that road racers would like to run. Look at Dallenbach. He went by Derek Cope, and he's trying to get by Rick Mast, a couple fellows that's been here several times.
Wally started 31st, didn't have a very good qualifying effort, and there you can see we have 4 cars that are out of the race. Now, Sterling Marlin is not officially out of the race. He's 38 laps down, but they're still trying to get him back in competition so that he can go out and complete a few more laps and pick up some more points. Now, we talked about Wally Dallenbach and the fact that he's a road racer. Benny, I heard you say something to him in one of the races that we've attended this year about what the common problem you found with road racers adapting to oval track racing like this.
Our oval tracks are high bank, and the drivers have to really drive the car down in the corner hard. Road racers, most of the courses they run on, the corners are flat, so they back off a lot. You know, to back off, hit the brakes, get in the corner, get set. Here, you have to drive the car down in so deep. It's a terrible mindset for these road racers to come in and have to swing it down in there so hard. Now, this is a racetrack that you got to hit the brakes before you get to the corner, and a track that a road course would enjoy. Road racer.
And Mast now side by side with Terry Labonte, another driving team that's had great success in the 92 season. Mast passing Labonte, and now
you don't want to do that.
Wally wisely got out of it real quick.
Morgan Shepherd and Dick Trickle. And talk about guys who have performed well since taking over this car. Dick Trickle, didn't he have a great race at Atlanta a few weekends ago?
Super race, and I'll tell you what, he could have won the race. There was a bunch of guys that could have won that race, and they only run a few more laps before they made their pit stop.
The Citgo in-car camera. Morgan Shepherd looking at Dick Trickle ahead.
That's 14th and 15th position.
Getting back on the gas, accelerating off the corner, on the back straightaway. As hard as he can go. Now he backs off, hits the brakes, and here's Terry Labonte in the pits in that Oldsmobile.
Well, as John Kernan said, they wore out tires in about 27 laps. Hey, they've already gone more than 40 laps with this set of tires on, so I expect we'll see others coming in here before very long.
Terry has finished in the top 10 in every race so far this year. A couple of 7th, an 8th, and a 9th. An early pit stop will drop him off of the lead lap, but the crew has the service completed. Terry comes back out onto the racetrack, and there is the leader. Davey Allison passing by as the one pulls out of the pits.
That should put him 2 laps down, I believe. He was about 2/3 of a lap behind before he came into the pits. But the leaders will have to come into the pits before too long, so that should put him up to 2nd.
And John, what do you hear about pit strategy at this point?
Well, Bob, I think that Terry Labonte's strategy of coming in right now kind of confused some of the other front-running teams. They were talking about coming in another 13 laps around lap 85, but now they're going to be checking the lap times and see the difference between their cars and Labonte. So we may be seeing pit road action heat up in just a few more laps.
But for right now, they stay out on the racetrack, and the separation between 1st and 2nd isn't all that much. It has not been, at this point, a race that Davey Allison has completely dominated. He's had a tough time shaking Brett Bodine.
He has. As a matter of fact, we can see that Brett Bodine is slowly closing in on Davey Allison. It's only just a few inches at a time, but he is, in fact, closing.
Mark Martin and Darrell Waltrip are running together on the racetrack. That's for 12th position. Mark is in 12th, and Darrell is in 13th.
So Darrell continues to fall back a little bit. The last time we talked about him, he was in about 10th position.
Something just happened to Kyle Petty's car as we come off turns 2 as we look at the telemetry in the automotive Mark Martin's car. 123, 119 miles per hour, the slowest speed around this racetrack over in turn 1, and that will be the slowest point around the course.
And it amazes me that you go from 119 miles an hour up to 175, in some cases up to 180 miles an hour, and you do that twice in, what, a little over 30 seconds?
Exactly. Just a little over 30 seconds.
There's Kyle Petty, and as Benny pointed out a few minutes ago, Kyle was off the pace, but now appears to be okay.
They're trying to figure out what's wrong with the car because we talked earlier, he was gaining on the leader, Davey Allison, but now he's falling back. Bill Elliott moved around him for the 3rd spot.
Derek Cope has just made a pit stop on the backstretch in the Pureway Chevrolet, and here are the leaders. Davey Allison, Brett Bodine has moved in close.
Yeah, he's only within about a car length and a half of the lead. Davey has it right now. Brett is 2nd. There's the top 5. Back in a moment. Back at Darlington, where we have a new leader, Brett Bodine has gone into the lead in the Quaker State Ford. He passed Davey Allison just about a lap and a half ago. But look at that guy there coming up on Brett Bodine, and probably will blow him off like he's sitting still. Why? Because Labonte was just in, got 4 new tires, and that shows you how well the cars perform with 4 new tires.
Harry Gant is in to get some new tires, and Jerry Punch is there.
That's exactly right, Ned. In fact, a lot of these teams, as you well know, could go to almost lap 100 on fuel, but fuel is not the concern here. After Terry Labonte pitted and the other crew chiefs ran up and saw that his tires were worn out, they decided to come back and bring the other cars in much, much earlier. That's why you see Gant pitting now for 4 tires. We expect to see Davey Allison, Mark Martin, others in within about 6 or 7 laps, around lap 85. Left side tires now going on those Gold Classic Oldsmobile, and Harry Gant is getting ready to leave pit road.
I think he's going to force the hand of most of the others. They're going to have to come in because he's going to be running about 2 seconds a lap faster than they are out there, and they can't afford for him to get that much of advantage for a long period of time.
But you can bet that a lot of teams are thinking about, as Sterling Marlin comes back out onto the racetrack, you can bet that a lot of teams are thinking about Atlanta and how important it is to wait as long as you can.
I mean, exactly right. Bill Elliott was about a 10th, 12th place car, but he waited. He did not stop when his tires wore out. They all stopped. They lost. Here comes Kyle Petty finally in the pits. They all lost 2 laps making their pit stop with 4 tires. Elliott stays on the racetrack and laps the entire field when the caution flag did come out.
John Kernan is there with Kyle Petty.
Mellow Yellow crew led by Robin Pemberton will make a 4-tire change. Now, we told you a few moments ago that Kyle had slowed down on the racetrack. First he thought he had a tire going down because it got real loose all of a sudden. Slowed down just to check it out. When he found out he didn't have a flat, he stayed out there. They're in about 2 laps earlier than what they had previously thought they would have received Labonte's tires. And how worn out they were. Kyle, 4 tires in a way.
Good stop. 22.5 seconds for Kyle Petty as he takes the mellow yellow Pontiac back out onto the racetrack. We've only had 1 caution period so far. That was for Sterling Marlin, who hit the wall up in turn number 3, but Sterling is back out on the racetrack, and since then it's been all green, and there is the leader, Brett Bodine.
And there's his brother, who is a lap down. That's Jeff Bodine in the red 15, the Motorcraft Ford. If the caution flag was to wave right now, what do you think he would do?
That's a very good question.
That is a good question. Would he move over and let brother go by and get back in the lead lap? I
don't think so.
Yeah, I believe he would.
Okay, we'll see.
I mean, what would he say when they get around Thanksgiving dinner?
Exactly.
Yeah, but if Jeff were to make up the lap and then win the race and beat his brother, what would he say?
Remember just a little bit ago when the 94 car went by the leader, Terry Labonte, but look where he is up here. He's coming off turn 2, and the 26 car is back in the middle of the corner.
And he's still passing cars.
He's still passing cars.
And Richard Petty's been in the pits, and he's just passing the leader. Jeff Bodine just went around the leader as we watched Terry Labonte try to pass Dale Earnhardt. Brett Bodine will be coming into the pits before too long because his tires have completely gone away. You can't even see his brother Jeff and Richard Petty in the screen. There they are, and you can see Richard moving around Jeff. He went in the STP Pontiac. He's motoring right on around here now.
King Richard.
So Jeff Bodine has an awfully good race car around here. Rusty Wallace in and making the chassis adjustment. We saw Jerry Punch talk about that at the top of the show. Crew cam.
Dave made the 3rd, just made a pit stop in the Melling car.
Rusty back out.
And Brett Bodine has finally decided he's going to get him some of them fresh tires. John Kernan, he's coming to you.
Benny, we had checked Brett's tire wear earlier after the first pit stop, and he appeared to be getting the best tire wear of anyone down here on our side of pit road. But right now, he will come in and take on 4 tires because you saw the dramatic difference of cars that were running in the middle of the pack with brand new tires, how they just blew around Brett. Now, also on the front grill, you can see a lot of rubber on there. That's from the tires and how the rubber is just literally ground off the tread. It's up. They've got to make sure that's clean. Now, left side tires are going on. Can of fuel going in. Jack is down and Brett is away. Jerry?
And they are waiting for Davey Allison while Dale Earnhardt makes an entry on the pit road. They're going to make an adjustment of his car. He was complaining of his Goodrich Chevrolet being very, very loose. Just the opposite problem of what Harry Gant and Davey Allison had. That's the pushing race car. Here's the Hamilton Ford, our early leader on pit road. He has run 61 laps, making 62 laps since he had the pit stop in the first caution flag. They will change 4 tires. They don't have time under the green to make a major adjustment. They wanted to take a rubber out to try to get rid of some of the push. They don't have time here in the green flag conditions. They will put now left side tires on. Both cans of fuel going in. They get ready to pull the jack, and Davey Allison is down and away.
Well, that was a 20-second pit stop. That was the best that we have seen so far. Robert Yates crew doing a great job. And the leader is Bill Elliott.
This is what happened last week in Atlanta. He stayed out there, and boom, the caution flag waved, he had the entire field out. But right now, there's still other cars that he has not lapped that have not made a pit stop yet.
Well, Dale Jarrett's moved up to second, and Hut Strickland to third, and Alan Kowicki to fourth, and none of them have stopped. Now here comes Elliott into the pits.
Other cars on pit road include Ken Schrader and Darrell Waltrip and Morgan Shepherd. There's Darrell Waltrip. Western Auto Car getting service.
That signal means that the gas tank is full. See, that guy with his right hand up, he's telling the crew that the gas tank is full. You can let the jack man will look at him and see that right hand is up.
Kerry Punch is there with Bill Elliott.
Bill Elliott's crew, the Budweiser crew, going to work on his car. Dale Jarrett also on pit road getting work on his machine. Now, Tim Brewer told us before the race that he would be among the last cars to pit every series, hoping he can do what he did in Atlanta and possibly catch a caution and be the only car on the lead lap. It hasn't worked yet today, but it might. Good gas mileage as always for the Budweiser crew. 4 tires, and Bill Elliott in the way. 21.5 seconds.
Yeah, about a second and a half slower than Davey Allison's crew completed the work on that car. Dale Jarrett also going back out onto the racetrack, as the scoreboard is now showing us that Alan Kowicki has assumed the lead because he has not made a pit stop. We're in the early stages of the Transouth 500 from Darlington Raceway. ESPN Speed World today at the Transouth 500 at Darlington Raceway in South Carolina, where the battle for the lead is between Brett Bodine and Davey Allison. Brett, after all the pit stops had been made, reassumed the lead. Gant was second for a while, but Davey passed him, putting Gant back to third. And now Davey will in contact between Harry Gant and Jeff Bodine, as Jeff Bodine remains a lap down, but is still running up there with the leaders.
Trying hard to get up front so he can get that lap back in case of a caution flag.
Yeah, just before their green flag pit stop, Jeff had passed Brett Bodine to get back in the lead lap.
Here we see a replay as they come off the corner, come off the second corner. We see Jeff come up. The right front touches the left rear quarter panel on Harry's car, and smoke flies off that right front tire.
And then you ride easy for a couple laps, wondering if you cut that right front tire. But he's not riding too easy. He wants to catch those two Fords right there. Those are the ones he has to catch to get back in the lead lap and pass him.
Davey ran up on the back bumper of Brett Bodine like he was going to pass him, but that was a couple of laps ago and nothing's happened.
Well, John Kernan has more on this tire wear situation that he talked about in the early part of our show. John?
Bob, I've got the set of tires off of Brett Bodine's car. Now, we'd said earlier, after 27 laps, the wear looked pretty good. Well, after 60 laps, this is the right rear. These are the wear indicators. They are almost gone. Now, yesterday, we saw a lot of right front tires getting used up, but this is the right rear, and it is almost worn out. It's the worst worn tire of the set.
John, down here at the Harry Gant pit, the story is exactly the same. In fact, it's right rear and left front. This is Harry Gant's left front tire. Now, these radials start with 4.5 30 seconds of rubber. We have marked how much is left. 3 30 seconds, 2, 2, 2, 2. Now, that's the left front. What's happening is they go in the corner and turn the car. The left front tire is on the bottom of the racetrack. It scrubs up across the asphalt and just rips the rubber off. The tire's wearing heavily, and this was only in 55 laps for Harry Gant.
All right, thank you guys for that report on the tire wear here in the first 100 laps of the Transouth 500. We are at lap number 99, as a matter of fact. Another Fram field summary as we run down the entire field for you. And when a car is a lap down, you will see that indicated to the right of his name. And if that particular driver is out of the race, you will also see that indicated. There's the leader, Brett Bodine, and second place Davey Allison moving around some of the slower traffic. That's Bobby Hamilton that they just put a lap on.
So we can see at least 20 cars still in the lead lap.
Okay, that's how many there were in the lead lap. Now we get Jeff Bodine, who is running right behind the leaders. There he is in the red car. He is the first car that's a lap down.
And we can see Derek Cope, the Pure Leader Chevrolet, directly in front of Brett Bodine. He is 20th place car, still in the lead lap, and wants to stay in front of these cars. Oh, here comes Davey Allison for the lead.
Uh-oh, Davey is going to go back into the lead on lap number 102. Davey passes passes Brett Bodine, and Allison is back in front.
Did something happen to Brett, or did he just get off the gas back in the corner when Davey scared him to death when he drove under him?
I think he might have slipped a little bit there and got off the gas, and that's all Davey Allison needed. Now Brett Bodine, Derek Cope has gone that lap down as Brett Bodine moves up on him, and of course Davey Allison passed him a lap ago. Not too far in front of these cars, fellas, is Dale Earnhardt. He's not far from going a lap down.
Here comes Gant and Ricky Rudd.
Rudd now seeing Harry Gant take the low side down into turn number 1, and Gant goes into second.
I think something maybe is a little bit wrong with Brett Bodine's car. He's just slowed down here a little bit in the last lap or so.
That's what it looked like back there a little bit ago. I didn't know because it wasn't dramatic, but he has in fact slowed from just when he was running a couple of laps ago. Ricky Rudd is a lap down, trying to get in front of these cars, see if he can get his lap back, like Jeff Bodine is trying his best to do.
Well, you talk about it. Last part of the season in 1992, Harry Gant has been nothing to sneeze about. In 1992, he has had a great year. But Mr. September, remember, since that streak, however, he has had 7 top 5 finishes. He's had 3 second places, 2 third place finishes, and 2 fourth place finishes. So Mr. September is certainly continuing his very, very fine performance. Jerry?
One of the guys in the shop was telling me that during the offseason, most of the teams, will go ahead and build brand new race cars for the next year. And one of the guys in the shop asked Harry, said, we're going to build you a new car for Darlington. And Harry said, you want me to smack you or what? This is the same car that he won the Southern 500 with last year and went on and drove and won all 4 of those races in September. And Harry said, we're running this car till it quits. And I guarantee you they will. Let's go back up pit road to John Kernan.
Thank you, Jerry. Ricky Rudd, as we told you a moment ago, is a lap down. They had some problems in the pits, guys. A lug nut hung on the air wrench, and just the time it took to get another lug off of their belt, put it on the car, and get another air wrench over the wall, he went down a lap.
And he is trying to get himself into position to get it back, but he isn't real close right now.
Now Brett Bodine has passed his cars and went back on like there's nothing happened to his cars. So.
Meanwhile, back of that action is Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin, along with Terry Labonte, as we once again watch from the roof cam, carried by Mark Martin. And the telemetry showing you RPM, gear, and miles per hour. Mark is currently 10th.
He's up in turns 3 and 4. Down by the pit road, down in front of the front grandstand.
And Dale Earnhardt goes a lap down as Mr. Allison puts Dale a lap down, and the atypical year for Dale Earnhardt continues.
Back to Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin. Rusty, wasn't that reversed a minute ago? Was Rusty? No, it wasn't.
We were watching Rusty. But now Mark will try to reverse that situation, and does as he drives around Rusty in turn 4.
Rusty went in the corner, turn 3, let the car drift up a little bit. Mark Martin drove under him, took the spot away.
So now Mark is 9th, and Rusty Wallace in the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac is 10th, while the Haviland Ford of Davey Allison sets the pace in the 36th annual Transouth 500. Davey Allison, the current Winston Cup points leader in the Haviland Ford, number 28, is the leader of the Transouth 500 after 111 laps. He's the sandwich or the meat in a banana sandwich. On top is Michael Waltrip, and behind is Greg Sachs.
It looks like Michael Waltrip's going to go a lap down. Greg Sachs.
Ooh, Michael almost got in the wall.
He did. Greg Sachs, the Kellogg car, was lapped just a couple of laps ago. Now Michael is in fact a lap down. So if Jeff Bodine goes by those cars, that will be 4th position.
That's right. This is the first time that he's had an opportunity to pass some cars for position. So watch this again.
Michael goes in the corner, and he's been running high all day, but all of a sudden, not quite that high, Mikey.
The old Darlington stripe on the car from that little incident. Well, racing of a different sort, not quite as much horsepower involved in the America's Cup activity, the Defender and the Challenger. The semifinals are coming up today. Next, right after the Transouth 500 here on ESPN, as Jim Kelly will have all the activity for you from San Diego. The America's Cup on ESPN right after our Winston Cup race this afternoon.
Davey Allison has put Richard Petty down a lap. So now that's the 16th place car. We have only 15 cars in the lead lap. Boy, Davey has been running so strong all year.
There is Dale Earnhardt, who is a lap down, and Jerry Punch is with Richard Childress.
Richard Childress standing here on the pit wall. And Richard, it has been an atypical year already and a very unusual Darlington for you guys. You're already one lap down.
Yeah, you know, the car is a little bit tight to start with, and we loosened up a little bit. You know, we just hadn't got the right balance on the car right now.
Davey Allison is really awfully strong. There are only 15 cars in the lead lap. Can anyone handle him?
No comment.
Enough said of that situation. You know, in all due respect, though, Dale Earnhardt had one of, if not the fastest cars in the late stages of the Atlanta race.
He did.
Very good.
He did. The car was awfully fast. And I thought Earnhardt was very impressive with working with the car all day, figuring out a groove. And he was running the groove at the end of the race different than anyone else, but making it work for him.
There's Brett Bodine in car 26 as he also puts a lap on Michael Waltrip. Brett is second. Third is Harry Gant. Fourth is Elliott. And fifth is Kyle.
And as Ricky Rudd passes these cars, that's position for him, as we saw Jeff Bodine doing a little bit earlier, because Ricky is a lap down too in the Tide Chevrolet. Now Earnhardt's going to take the measure of Michael Waltrip. That is for position, like about 18th position.
Davey continuing to cruise, sneaking up on Terry Labonte and about to put him a lap down. Remember how fast Terry Labonte was when he got those new tires on, came out and passed just about everybody. Well, now he is just about to go a lap down in 15th.
Because right now, see, he's got about 10 more laps on his tires than Davey Allison does, and that means that his car is slower than Davey Allison. But each lap, the car seems to slow down just a little bit more as the tires wear.
Now here's our field summary, this time sponsored by Autolite. They're the top five. And the second five with Rusty Wallace in 10th position. Jerry in 6th. Martin also right up there in contention. Then we get to the cars that are in the 11th through 15th positions.
With the exception of Labonte, who just the last lap went a lap down.
That's correct. All of these cars are, as you can see, one lap down. So is Earnhardt in 21st. And Bobby Hamilton is 2 laps down. Bob Schacht in car number 95 is 3 laps down. Jimmy Means down 5. Once again, this is our effort to let you know where your favorite driver is running. This gives you an opportunity maybe to go to the refrigerator and get a beverage or something and still come back knowing that in just a few minutes we will give you one of these field summaries and let you know where your favorite driver is running.
Now here's a bunch of cars, fellas, that would like to see a caution before long. Davey Allison is not too far behind them. This is your 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th place cars. There's Morgan Shepherd in the back. He's 14th. Darrell Waltrip is 13th. Dick Trickle is 12th. And Kenny Schrader is 11th. They're only about 2 seconds ahead of Davey Allison, who is moving in on it.
And Morgan Shepherd bringing up the tail of this group of cars. 21 Sitco Ford inside with him.
He's having the feather. You can hear him getting in and out of the gas because of that pushing problem he has coming off of turn 4. The ideal situation is to bury the throttle once you get back in the gas, but after these tires get heated up, sometimes that's tough to do. But if you have a pushing problem, it's really tough.
You can do that when the tires are fresh, but as they wear, it becomes harder and harder to do. That's the reason in the car slowing down.
Let's see how Mark Martin is doing as we check his progress.
Remember, the number we saw before was 180 miles per hour. 180 maximum speed down the front straightaway. This is down in turns 1 and 2 as it just blows by Derek Cope's Purelator Chevrolet.
Let's see what speed he achieves here on the back stretch.
Signal to Derek Cope said thanks.
175 was the top speed. Slight touch of the brake.
So let's see what he can do now. He ought to be a little bit faster down the front straightaway if the wind is calm.
.76.
So he slowed down 4 miles an hour from what we saw earlier in the race with better tires.
Another thing we'll notice is that it's much slower down in turns 1 and 2 than it is in 3 and 4. And the reason, of course, for that is the fact that this is an egg-shaped track and it's a little tighter down in 1 and 2. Back in just a moment. Davey Allison is on record pace and leading the Transouth 500. The average speed at this point, 140.517. The track record is 135.594. And the main reason for that is because we've had only one caution to slow the pace. That was early when Sterling Marlin hit the wall in turn number 3. However, he is back in competition.
There you can see how close to Davey Allison. We saw Morgan Shepherd there just ahead of Davey Allison. Of course, we'll have pit stops coming up before long. Terry Labonte made a pit stop, and here comes Harry Gant, the 4th place car.
Jerry Punch is coming to you for his pit stop.
Well, Harry Gant last pitted on lap 80. We told you how worn those tires were. They wanted to take no chances with Harry Gant or the race car, so they will bring him back down very early here. The Skoll Oldsmobile crew, Andy Petrie, Charlie Presley, and the crew not working on the car. They will change all 4 tires. They have no choice. They must change. Remember, I told you the left front tire how worn it was a little bit ago. Goodyear Eagle radials going on. It's full of fuel. They clean rubber off the front. And he is down and away in 19.5 seconds. Great pit stop, guy.
Super pit stop. I'll tell you, that's going to be tough to beat. And then he's going to pick up about 2 seconds a lap on him once he gets back out on the racetrack. He's going to force somebody to come in here before long. Yep.
We see Harry Gant go out. He has to stay below that yellow line. He can't just drive back up on the racetrack. There comes Davey Allison, our leader.
His last pit stop, remember, was 20 seconds. That's about the best we had until Gant just came in and did that one in less than 20 seconds. Well, you'll remember at Atlanta that Davey Allison changed the engine in his car like 3 times on race morning. We asked him, does this still increase your chances of winning?
Robert Yates Racing. That's all I can say. Those guys in the engine room at our shop do a great job. The engine that we ran at Atlanta was actually one that we tested 265 laps at North Wilkesboro 3 days before that. So I think that kind of says a lot for our guys. To have a motor that had that much time on it, they didn't even have time to change the valve springs. I mean, they just took it out of the car that we had tested, put it in the car that we were racing, and away we went.
Davey Allison with the lead again.
And coming up on some very good race cars, trying to put them a lap down. Morgan Shepherd, who is currently running he would have moved up to 13th after Harry Gant made his pit stop.
And we're looking back on Davey from Morgan's car.
As we watch all this, Richard Petty just went in the pits on the back straightaway, making his pit stop. There he is. There's Richard. Right side's going on the car.
Well, his fan appreciation tour this year. Boy, is he getting a lot of attention, and rightly so.
Also going to change the left side. We see a fellow there taking the lug nuts off. Jackman comes around. Car's going up, making a chassis adjustment. Fellow with a wrench back in the left rear. Jerry, you were right. You said at the top of the show, this show is going to be about chassis adjustments about every car that comes in. We see him with a wrench back there, turning some screws, trying to get the car handling just a little bit better. Richard finishes, and away he goes.
Quite the winner of this race, Richard Petty, back in competition. So what's it feel like when you're out in the cold for a long time and you're really chilled and you come into a warm room and you say, that feels better? Is that the way it feels when you get new tires on the car?
That's a very good, yes, that's very good, Bob.
Here at Darlington, King Richard, 65 starts, 3 wins. Last in the Southern 500 in 1967. He has had 22 top 5 finishes, and he was 3rd in the Transouth 500 in 1987. Our Petty memory this week. Remember something that perhaps we'd like to forget.
This Richard Petty memory is brought to you by Prism, the only spray-away car polish. Darlington, South Carolina, 1970 provided a frightening moment for Richard Petty.
That was one of the worst wrecks I had. We had run into the wall about 8 or 10 laps before that, down in one and two. Then I kept trying to run the car, and when we trying to get it back up to speed, finally got to running pretty good again, then running the wall coming off at 4. And when it did, it broke the steer, and the car come down to the inside, turned over 4 or 5 times, and my arm kept coming out the window. And
when we got to him, the car was upside down, and his arms, you know, he's long and lanky, and his arms was just limp laying in the car. And you know, the first thing I thought that he was dead, you know, and of course I'm in the car with him, and when I unstrapped the belts and we're trying to hold him, you know, a big lanky body like that, he hit pretty hard when he did come down, and he groaned, and so I knew he was alive.
And the man who is NASCAR for the final time, 1992, his final year of competition, there is King Richard Petty, and he is currently running in 25th position, having just made the pit stop. Now, Davey Allison continues to lead this race. He is due a pit stop before too long, maintaining an advantage over Brett Bodine, Bill Elliott, Dale Jarrett 4th, and Alan Kowicki running 5th.
See Darrell Waltrip making his entry on the pit road. He decided he's had all those worn tires he wants. He wants some of that fresh feeling. That he wants to go in the warm air, right?
Yeah, he had just been lapped by Davey Allison before he decided to come into the pits. Let's go to the pits and John Carter.
Darrell Waltrip brings it in for a 4-tire change. You see him beating down the rear spoiler, the bigger spoiler this week. They will work on the right side. It seemed to take him a little bit longer than it should, but Darrell is in also coming down pit road. Ernie Irvin, he's laps down. Waltrip, now they come around to the left side. Now Kyle Petty was just in a few minutes ago, and they bumped the spoiler up on that car. We're expecting Brett Bodine, the second place car, to be in about 6 seconds, 25.4 seconds, a little bit slower than Jeff Hammond and crew would have liked.
Darrell Waltrip moves back out onto the racetrack. In case you joined us late, Ernie Irvin had a problem with the clutch right at the beginning of the race. He is several laps down. Michael Waltrip is pitted on the backstretch, and so is Jimmy Means, the number 52 car.
And Dale Earnhardt just pulled in the front pits, and Jerry punches down with him, Jerry.
And the Goodrich crew going to work on Earnhardt. Well, you heard discussed a little bit ago in Richard Childress' voice, they are not happy at all with the performance of the car here today. They can't be happy. They are already a lap down. They changed left side tires. And on the crew cam, you're seeing the Rusty Wallace crew, the Miller Genuine Draft crew, putting the larger Penske on the machine. Todd putting the tire on. That's Todd Perry, adding a little bit of wedge in the car. They have changed right side tires. Now move around to the left side of the car, as the Goodrich Chevrolet now has changed to all 4 tires. He is gone. Now another chassis adjustment as you're watching on our crew cam on ESPN, and now Rusty Wallace's car is off the jack, and he is down and away.
Wallace going slowly down pit road. Remember, there is still a speed limit on pit road, but now he begins to gather up speed and staying below that yellow line in turns 1 and 2. There's Allison, and now he is coming up on Ken Schrader. And Davey Allison will stay out on the racetrack while Schrader comes in for a pit stop. 141 laps completed as Davey continues to set the pace here at Darlington, South Carolina.
Welcome back to Darlington International Raceway, and under green flag fences, Brett Bodine, your second place car, pulls in. Now the signboard fell off. They used to have to stand out there on pit road with that. Now they hang it over with the wall. They can't send an extra man to pick it up, or else they'll be penalized. They work on the right side of the car. Now they'll come around to the left side, a 4-tire change for Brett Bodine. The gasoline is already in. They're not nearly running anywhere close to what their fuel window is. They're running within about 25 laps of that. These tires probably really quick pit stop for Brett Bodine, 21.4 seconds.
Brett Bodine relinquished second position in coming in for that pit stop. Now there is Greg Sachs, who is passing the leader of the race, Davey Allison. Again, indication of the worn tires and the new tires. And Davey is slowing to come into the pits. There is Dale Jarrett, who is running in the top 5 as he comes in for a pit stop. The Interstate Batteries car. Joe Gibbs' team goes to work on that machine, and Davey Allison slowly making his way down pit road. Jerry Punch, he's coming to you for another pit stop.
The 1992 Daytona 500 winner, Davey Allison, trying to pick up his second win of the season comes down, and as we expect, they will change all 4 tires. Larry McReynolds and the crew very deliberately making sure that they get the car squarely inside the pitting box so there's no penalties involved. They have already changed the right side tires. They pulled the left side off. Dale Jarrett, a great pit stop for the Interstate Batteries team. They have pitted just above Davey Allison. And he is away. And Bill Elliott now makes an entry onto pit road. And we will call the Bill Elliott pit stop. The Budweiser team, Tim Brewer, Junior Johnson, and all the crew await Bill Elliott. 3 in a row, going for number 4 as he comes to Darlington. And remember, 60 miles per hour on pit road. And here is Mark Martin. Right side tires in the Valvoline Ford. They go to the left side now in that car. The Jack Roush team working there. Back in the Bill Elliott pit. Right side tires going on that car. They have taken the left side lug nuts off. Henry Benfield adds fuel to the car. A little bit of a trouble on the right front side as Mark Martin has completed his pit stop down the way. And now they have struggled more with the right front tire. Possibly an air gun failure. They finally get the lugs back on. And now the left side. So a little time being lost under the green flag conditions for Bill Elliott. Now the left side tires are finally going on. An air ring was the problem in the right front. Elliott is down and away, 32.5 seconds. An air gun cost him about 12 seconds.
Yeah, when you consider that Davey made his pit stop in 19.4 seconds, and you compare that with Bill Elliott, with the unfortunate happening there, it's...
Watch his 11 car, and we'll see the 33 car coming up right on the back of Elliott. If the 33 car could have gotten by Bill Elliott, that would have put him a lap down to the 33 car.
You'll be seeing him here in a moment. There he is on the right side of the screen.
I thought Harry was going to be able to catch him and put him a lap down, but he, in fact, was not able to. Now Bill, with those new tires, will drive away from Harry again.
So bad luck this time for Bill Elliott on pit road, but the race isn't over yet.
Ted Musgrave, the Jasper engine Pontiac that Bill Elliott's going by.
He's running in 22nd spot. Musgrave is. And Dale Jarrett came out of the pits, but has not gone back up to speed, Ned.
No, something happened, Bob. I don't know what the situation is, but he never got up to full speed. We see Brett Bodine going around. He has gone a lap down to the leaders. Apparently, there's something wrong with the engine in the car because you see he's not going fast on the straightaway.
Well, we'll check on that situation while we're in this break and bring you up to date on all the information when we come back to the Transouth 500 at Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. By Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years, no matter how far you go. And by Valvoline, people who know use Valvoline. Harry Gant is the leader of this race. Now remember, he's pitting about 5, 6, 7 laps before most of the other leaders, and so at this point he has a rather sizable advantage.
What's he got, about a 10, 12-second lead, Ned?
He's got a big lead. Of course, he made a fantastic pit stop under 20 seconds, but also he pitted, as Bob said, several laps before the others did. Picked up about a second and a half, 2 seconds a lap on them before they came in as a result of having on new tires. So he has a good lead.
And again, an Autolite field summary for you.
All these cars on the lead lap. Now, Alan Kulwicki is a lap down because he stayed on the racetrack so long on those worn tires, he is in the lap down. He's pitted. Now he has fresh tires. He has to catch Harry Gant and get by him to get back on the lead lap if he can.
Actually, Harry, he pitted 20 laps before Davey Allison did. So he was picking up a lot of time out on the racetrack. So that's got him a good lead.
Greg Sachs was running up at the front, but they've taken that car behind the wall. He's not officially out of the race, but they are working on the car. You see that Jerry Hill is out of the race, car number 56.
And Dave Mater, I think, blew an engine in that car. Maybe they're working on the car.
65 laps down, so he dropped out quite a few laps ago. And then 36 through 39, those cars are all out of the race. 39 cars started this event, one short of a full field.
There's Harry again up in 3 and 4. I'll tell you, Leo Jackson, Andy Petrie, those guys, has done a super job on that car. Has been competitive at each and every race he's been to.
Now, before we went to break, we indicated that there might be a problem with Dale Jarrett. We also promised you an update. Here's Jerry with it.
When Dale Jarrett made his last pit stop just moments ago, he had a problem. He said the car just quit pulling, so he came down pit road. Let's check in with the car. And Jimmy, what's the problem with the car?
Something happened to the transmission. We're not really sure what. Something happened to high gear, and he doesn't have any high gear, so right now we're just running around in third. We're going to see what kind of time we lose in third gear. We may have to come in and change the transmission if it shows that we're going to be a little bit better, but right now there's just no high gear.
So Dale Jarrett having problems here at Darlington.
One thing you have to be very careful of there is not over-revving the engine running in third gear. That's be awful easy to do. That's why we saw cars passing him on the straightaways and in the turns and everywhere. He just don't want to over-rev that engine.
Another concern that he has in third gear, he will overheat the oil in the transmission. So if he doesn't have a cooler on the transmission, well, here he comes in the pit, so probably a moot point.
Nope, I don't think he's pitting. He just slowed very dramatically coming off turn 4. The problems continue there for Dale Jarrett. And there's also a problem for the 66 car, as there you can see the Chad Little machine is parked. And we had an in-car camera riding with him, but that car is parked in the garage. Well, we're getting very close to the halfway point. You've still got just a few more laps to enter the Gillette Halfway Challenge. To do so, all you have to do is dial 1-900-436-7000 before the halfway lap. Call will cost you 95 cents, and you have to be 18 years of age or over. If you are called back during today's race and you can name the driver who won the Gillette Halfway Challenge, you will win a new Chevrolet Lumina Z34. You can also win an instant prize for having the correct UPC code from a Gillette product. Gillette Halfway Challenge coming up in about 21 more laps. The halfway point is 184, and we are on 163. Did I subtract that correctly?
I don't know. I was watching Richard Petty.
21 laps before the halfway point. So get to those phones and enter the contest. Make yourself eligible to win a new Lumina.
We see Harry Gant. Now, right behind him is Alan Kawicki. We talked about Harry Gant stopped, what, 20 or 30 laps before Kawicki. Look, Alan Kawicki has gained 10 seconds on Harry Gant, and he will probably pass him before another lap is run.
And if he does so, he will unlap himself. He's in 6th position right now with 5 cars on the lead lap.
Well, he comes off those turns in a hurry with those pressure tires. And, yep, Benny, just one more lap, and there he goes, right on the inside, moves around it.
Good call. So we have 6 cars now on the lead lap, including Alan Kulwicki, and the field is being led by Harry Gant. We'll be back with more live coverage after this. We're back at Darlington, South Carolina, Darlington Raceway in the 36th annual running of the Transouth 500. And right on the quarter hour, here's another Autolite field summary as Harry Gant sets the pace in this one. And now 6 cars, as we indicated before the break, on the lead lap. Marlin, Martin, Schrader, and Wallace are in the top 10, but those guys are a lap down.
A lot of cars are a lap down. You can see 11 through 15 are each a lap down, as are the next 3 cars on this page.
Rusty's wanting to stay in front of Davey Allison because if Harry Gant was to make a pit stop, then the caution flag come out, he would be able to, Davey Allison would assume the leadership, then Rusty could go all the way around and make up a lap. Because the pace car would pull out in front of 28, Rusty would freely be able to go around the 1 3/8 and make up that lap. And Rusty Wallace does definitely need some racing luck this season because it has not been good.
Yeah, I saw him in the hotel this morning and asked him if he was going to win today, and he says, boy, Bob, I hope so.
Bud Strickland just passed Harry Gant, got back in the lead lap. He is the 7th place car, and Mark Martin is coming up on Harry Gant. Both of them pitted late, and as a result have fresher tires than Gant, so they're making up that time now.
And in defense of Rusty Wallace, I think the one reason he is a lap down because they had a problem on one of the right side tires in making that pit stop and had about a 5 or 6 second pit stop. There goes Mark Martin by Harry Gant, trying to get by him.
Inside Mark's car, and we see that he does pass Harry Gant.
Yes, go ahead, buddy. I'm still a mile and a half ahead of him. the telemetry system in Mark's car as we look back at Harry Gant. 7,000 now accelerating down the front straightaway. Watch this, up to 8,300 RPMs down the front straightaway.
And tapping the brake as he goes through the corner. Jerry Punch is on pit road with a driver who's had to retire from the race, or at least he's sitting behind the wall, Greg Sachs.
Bob, I'm not sure which it is either. They're still working here on the Kellogg Chevrolet, the Larry Hedrick-owned car, and Greg is inside the car. In fact, we will show you down inside. They are trying to change the transmission, and Greg is an active part of what's going on. They could not get to the part of the shifter linkage on top, so they gave a wrench to Greg, and now he's become an active part of the crew. Greg, what's the problem with the car?
Well, Jerry, we had a pretty good run going with this Kellogg Chevrolet, but I ran out of gas in 3 and 4. We had to coast in, and I couldn't get it running. When we finally got a little ether to it, got it running, let out the clutch a little hard and broke the transmission.
Crash in turn number 1 involving Darrell Waltrip. He's backed his Western Auto Chevy into the wall. It's moving, however. We're hitting bad damage to the outside, the rear end of the car. Here's the caution flag being displayed to Harry Gant as he comes down. Sorry we had to break away from that interview with Greg Sachs, who is helping get that car back in the race. Here is a replay. Waltrip going into turn 1. Contact with Jeff, it looked like.
Jeff Bodine was trying to get under him. Apparently Darrell didn't see him, and Darrell backs into the wall hard.
Brett Bodine barely.
Yeah.
That was the only one car involved was Darrell Waltrip, but you're right. Jeff was trying to get under him going in the corner, just a little touch on the left rear, and around went Darrell. And I tell you what, that always makes me nervous when drivers drive him around with that rear end dragging and throwing sparks, and could possibly be a gas leak back there. But I guess he's been far enough, it's not a problem.
So Darrell makes it on the pit road. This is only our second caution of the day. The first brought out when Sterling Marlin hit the wall in turn number 3. Jerry Punch will report on the pit stops coming up.
This is indeed a very big break for Harry Gant. Remember, he had pitted 20 laps earlier than Davey Allison and some of the other front runners. He was scheduled to come in for a routine pit stop in about 4 laps. So this caution flag was made to order for the 52-year-old driver from Taylorsville. They will change all 4 tires. They make a chassis adjustment in the right rear. Right side tires are already on. And you see Davey Allison's crew in the Haviland Ford Thunderbird. They also changing right and left side tires. Bill Elvis, Budweiser crew now going around to the left side. Harry Gant is down and away. Here's the Quaker State car, and Gant pulls right in front of him, and so does Davey Allison, and Allison will be the one who gets the advantage heading back to turn 1.
That race on coming off pit road was about as exciting a race as we've seen in a while.
You know, these fellas can't go barreling down the front straightaway anymore, so they just guys come out of the pits and turn right in front of someone because they figure not running fast enough to hurt anything if they do hit them.
All right, here is the replay of the crash from Morgan Shepherd's car. And Morgan just kind of had to hold his breath and hope that nothing would pop up in front of him as Darrell Waltrip's Western Auto Lumina goes behind pit wall for repairs. Now watch it again. Now watch Brett Bodine in the Quaker State car.
He just keeps his groove, keeps his cool, and stays right in that groove, doesn't make an erratic move, and as a result, he drives right on around, no harm done as far as he was concerned.
So Darrell Waltrip bringing out our second caution of the day, hitting the wall up in turn number 1. 176 laps. We're just a few laps away from the halfway point of the Transouth 500. The Transouth 500 under caution for the second time at Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. Coming up later today on ESPN at 7:30 tonight, after you've had a bite to eat after watching the events we have for you this afternoon here on ESPN. Tune in at 7:30 Eastern as spring training baseball comes your way with a game between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Cincinnati Reds. It's at 7:30 tonight. Major League Baseball here on ESPN. Jerry Punch is with Darrell Waltrip, who brought out our second caution of the day.
Well, Darrell Waltrip has climbed out of what's left of the Western Auto Chevrolet, and DW, you had a pretty good run going. What happened up there?
You know, I'd like to tell you what really happened up there, but I'm trying not to. But there was a little turd driving number 15 that run over me. What happened?
Can you get it fixed, DW?
No. That knocked us out. You know, I moved out of the way for everybody. I moved up for him. I guess it wasn't enough.
Obviously upset. Darrell Waltrip hoping to get a good run here at Darlington.
Yeah, it's very tough to keep your cool and to realize that you're out of the race. Darrell Waltrip apparently is out after that crash up in turn number 1. Back right after this. Back under green at Darlington Raceway in South Carolina, where Davey Allen race. Rusty Wallace is leading the procession down the front straightaway, and Rusty has a lap back. Now let's go back and take a look at the Darrell Waltrip crash and listen to it.
We have a camera down in turn 1 about where Darrell Waltrip hit. We got a fellow watching, and he turned that microphone on about the right time, and we could hear the impact when Darrell backed the car in the fence.
Billy Fuchs, nice job with the sound of a crash in Winston Cup competition. Darrell Waltrip, as you heard just a few moments ago, is out of the running.
Fellas, we're coming up on the halfway mark here. Davey Allison is the leader. Rusty Wallace did pass the car number 28 of Davey Allison a little bit ago. Now, Harry Gant is about to be passed by Ken Schrader, who also is a lap down. That might kill Gant's chances of trying to get up there and pass Davey for that halfway mark. But Kyle Petty has ideas. Maybe he can get up there and take that money.
And he's on the lead lap, so that puts Kyle in second position. Kyle second, Harry third, Brett Bodine is fourth, and Bill Elliott is fifth.
Now, on fresh tires, Kyle Petty's car has been one of the best out here. After he runs a while, the car starts backing up on him a little bit, but it is really fast on fresh tires. Now, how many laps will be the halfway mark this time?
Yep.
Now, they have to run 5 laps, don't they, under green? Have we run that many?
I think as long as they're running under green at the time, we're okay. If it were under caution, then they would have to run 5, but they are under green, and so here comes the halfway point. Cross flags are shown, and Davey Allison is the leader of this race at the halfway point. Our halfway leader again is Davey Allison. He takes home $10,000 Jeanette Halfway Challenge Award. Now, if you've entered the contest, are called back and can correctly identify that Davey Allison won at the halfway point, you can win a Chevrolet Lumina Z34. Half of this race. Here is Dale Earnhardt, Hunt Strickland, and Michael Waltrip, all of them passing Mark Martin.
Yeah, you wonder if he has a problem. Boy, the Valvoline Ford is not too steamy right at the moment. And there goes Terry Labonte by in the Sunoco Oldsmobile.
I think what happened when Earnhardt got by him up there, he had to get off the gas a little bit. When he lost his momentum, all those guys just went zooming right by him.
Mark lost several spots.
And we had to hit the brakes that time because in the middle of the corner, he should be on the gas. He's hitting the brakes. And that's about what happened the last time a little bit ago when he lost his momentum.
Up front, meanwhile, it is still Davey Allison.
He just can't catch Rusty Wallace. Rusty's got his Miller genuine draft Pontiac hooked up pretty well. Here comes Kenny Schrader. He's got his car hooked up well now.
And the 2 green cars of Harry Gant and Brett Bodine are in 3rd and 4th.
Rusty Wallace is currently running in 7th position, so there are 7 cars in the lead lap.
And Kenny Schrader is just all over Davey Allison. He got way up high in the corner that time, down in 2 in an effort to pass Davey and get a lap back. Now Allison begins to close in a little bit on Rusty.
We go by our camera about 150, 55 miles per hour. 180 down in the corner, braking. Oh, look at Schrader now.
There goes Schrader.
Zoom.
He looked high last time. This time he goes low, pulls alongside of Davey. They may have had contact coming off the corner. Davey holds off the challenge.
But look at Kyle Petty's coming up behind him as Brett Bodine tries to move on the inside of Harry Gant, but he backs off. Says not now. Here comes Kyle Petty. Boy, that car really works down on the inside on fresh tires. He'll get Davey Allison in a few laps, fellas.
He may be the fastest car on the track at this point. Here is Jerry Punch in Dale Jarrett's pit.
Bob, just updating people on Dale Jarrett and the Joe Gibbs on Chevrolet. He's sitting here in the car. Dale, I guess they are replacing the transmission, but the big concern is how much did you have to turn that motor in third gear?
Yeah, I was having to take care of it. All I had was third gear there. I lost high gear. It's a shame. This interstate battery Chevrolet was running great, and I just had to watch the RPMs. The biggest thing was whenever I lost high gear there, it revved it up quite a bit, so I'm just going to try to take care of it here and try to finish it. It's a shame this Hendrick motor was running great, too, and crew had done a good job. Had a good run going, but that's part of the game and getting a new team started.
Speaking of a new team, take a look at the helmet he's wearing here. The star on the side, that is the Dallas Cowboys. Now, one of their sponsors is NFL Properties, and each week as a salute to an NFL team, he will wear a different helmet. So I think sitting behind the wall, that's a fitting Redskin salute to the Dallas Cowboys.
I thought that meant that Dale was the star of the week or something with that on his helmet.
I believe you fit in that category. I don't know, not in racing yet, and had too good of a weekend here at Darlington.
Now Kyle Petty beginning to mount a challenge of Davey Allison for the lead of this race. Davey has led most of the laps so far. If you're just joining us at about the 3 o'clock Eastern Time hour, Davey Allison is the leader of this race, and our Western Auto race recap indicating that Davey leading 118 of the first 184 laps, 2 caution periods for a total of 11 laps, those for accidents involving Sterling Marlin and Darrell Walter, both drivers okay. 9 cars on the lead lap, 7 leaders, 15 lead changes, and the average speed is 138.14 miles an hour.
Right there is where Kyle Petty seems to have the advantage coming off of turn 2. He got a nose up there, but Davey has a lot of power up the backstretch and beat him into turn 3.
They're the guys that have led a lap in this race, picking up 5 Winston Cup bonus points. That have dropped out of the race include James Hilton, Jimmy Spencer was an early out, Dave Mader qualified well but fell out early in the race, and most recently, of course, Darrell Walter because of the crash. Richard Petty also shown as out of competition. Now, the standings in the Western Auto Mechanic of the Year award show that Tim Brewer from Bill Elliott's crew is on top, followed by Larry McReynolds and Andy Petrie from Harry Gantz, Steve Meal from Mark Martin's team, and Kirk Shelmerdine from Dale Earnhardt's team is tied with Steve for 4th position in the standings. Let's go to John Kernan, who has more on Kyle Petty.
Well, Bob, it's only fitting that Kyle is running so well today after the early part of the week that they have had. On Friday, they blew the qualifying motor before qualifying. They had to replace that. On Saturday, they found a hole in the oil tank. They had to replace that, and then they were going out for practice yesterday. A line came off the carburetor. They had a fire, so they had to replace all the wiring harnesses and some of the ignition parts. So it's been a rough weekend already for Kyle Petty. And I told Robin Pemberton this morning, I said, hey, you got all the bad stuff out of the way before Sunday's race. You'll have a perfect day. He said, yeah, we'll see.
Well, he sure is competitive right now, trying to pass Davey Allison for the lead, but unable to do so at the moment. We'll take another break and then be back with another field summary after this. $198 out of 367 laps completed on ESPN Speed World today at Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. It's Davey Allison leading the race and Kyle Petty running in second, and they're separated by just about 1 car length, maybe car length and a half.
These cars are evenly matched. Before we went to break, they're about the same position. They just can't gain on each other. Kyle tried a little bit ago. Very evenly matched. As the tires get hot, it looks like that Davey may start pulling away a little bit from Kyle as the tires warm up.
Here's the Autolite field summary showing you the top 5. This is a complete field rundown showing that 9 cars are on the lead lap, with Ken Schrader running in 10th position, 1 lap down.
All of those from 11th through 15th are a lap down as well,
including the defending champion of the race, Ricky Rudd.
And Dale Earnhardt 16th and Michael Waltrip in 17th.
Wally Dallenbach is out of the race. Richard Petty, 37 laps down. He's behind the wall.
Saw Darrell Walters' name. He was involved in the crash.
Greg Sachs has rejoined the action after they repaired the transmission on that car. And there are the ones that will finish at the tail of the field.
And Darrell Walter is okay.
Yes, Darrell Walter, a little disgusted, but otherwise physically okay.
Alan Kowicki now moving up on Bill Elliott. Elliott running in the 5th position. Kowicki got awfully close to Jeff Bodine as he moved around him.
Then there's Dick Trickle back there in the Snickers Ford, number 8.
Having another good run. He's a lap down, but...
And so is Alan Kowicki. He's been up there in the top 10 most of the afternoon.
He's having a great run. He is in one of the cars in the lead lap, running in 6th place right now.
There's Trickle trying to get by Jeff Bodine in that Motograph Ford.
That should be 4 position, each of them a lap down.
That's for 12th.
Makes the pass look easy.
And Petty now is right on that rear spoiler of Davey Allison.
I guess I misspoke. Maybe the tires got hot. Kyle Petty was going to gain on Davey Allison.
Well,
I think I said it reversed.
You were right in the first half of the race, Benny, but I'm sure they made some adjustments on that mellow yellow Pontiac during the caution period when he came in for 4 tires, and it might have corrected that situation that was having him drop back after the tires heated up.
And Rusty Wallace has been hanging in pretty good, but now Davey has caught Rusty Wallace. What was the lead a little bit ago? 10 car lengths now. Davey's pulled up on the back bumper.
Rusty would love to see the caution flag come out.
Dale Jarrett just moved his interstate battery car back on the racetrack after putting a transmission in it, so we'll see if he's hurt the engine while running around in 3rd gear.
They passed by the 77 car of Mike Potter.
There's Davey trying to get inside Rusty.
Nope. Didn't need to do that. He figured that out too once he got into that. You know, Davey, of course, his concentration in his mind right now is on leading this race, trying to hold off Kyle Petty. Is he going to be able to do it? But also his mind has been on his grandfather this weekend. Pop Allison has been very, very sick, and our prayers and best wishes go out to he and the entire Allison family.
I forgot. Yet Clifford told me yesterday Pop was in the hospital in Birmingham watching this. So Pop, our best wishes.
Here's Davey. Now he will pass Rusty Wallace and put him a lap down. And there is Brett Bodine, who continues to run in 4th. There you can see that Davey has passed Rusty. And now here comes Kyle Petty also.
And there's Harry Gant. The old 3rd place car. Harry has moved back in.
Rusty's off the pace.
No, I think he just, once he got a lap down, he moved over and let those guys go by because they're racing 4 position. And he stayed out there as long as he could, but once Davey got by him, he said, hey, there's no point in me holding them up.
And folks, Gant is running up on the racetrack in turn 1, up on the wall, right up next to the wall in turns 1 and 2.
Now that yellow car in there, of course, is Greg Sachs. We mentioned he came out of the pits after changing transmissions on the Kellogg Chevrolet a little while ago. Has fresh tires on that car, so he's up there mixing it up with.
Here's some Greg Sachs now. Watch Harry Gant as he goes down in turn 1. Sachs goes by Kyle Petty. Gant goes in the corner. See how low Kyle Petty is? Watch Harry Gant. He's 1 car length higher up the racetrack than Kyle Petty.
He's taking the old Richard Petty line up there in the corner, staying as close to the wall as you can.
We're going to start renaming that the Harry Gant line if he keeps doing this.
Yeah, he's pretty famous for that at a lot of racetracks. He says he can conserve his tires by running up there high that way.
Well, let's go down to John Kernan for a report on Rusty Wallace.
Well, Bob, it's simply a case of using up the tires, trying to stay in front of the leaders, hoping for a caution, as Rusty Wallace was doing out there. He was driving his heart out and just used the tires up. Eddie Dickerson says, the crew chief on the car, says that it got to the point where if Rusty was going to stay in front of him and drive that hard, he'd stick it in the wall, so he just moved over and let him go by.
Smart move on Rusty's part, although it did put him a lap down. Davey Allison now has Greg Sachs between him and 2nd place Kyle Petty. And of course, Greg fresh back out on the racetrack after mechanical repairs. And there goes Greg around our leader. Davey Allison still up front, back after these messages at Darlington, South Carolina. back at Darlington for the Transouth 500 Winston Cup race, live here on ESPN. Davey Allison leads. Harry Gant has gone into second position. Kyle Petty is third, and Brett Bodine is running in fourth position. And we've had a little bit of contact, shall we say, between Kyle and Brett as they battle for that third spot.
Go down in turn one, and we see Brett trying to get under the 42 car of Kyle Petty, and he goes up and bumps him just a tick. Then we see the contact. Kyle Petty's car started sideways.
And then they come off the second corner, and this is what happened.
So then Brett decided, well, I'll go on the inside of him, and we see Kyle's car get out of shape. He starts coming down the racetrack, and wow, some heavy contact. And those guys on the outside were saying, thank God we're on the outside.
And Brett wisely got out of it there. That could have been a big wreck.
But now here comes Brett back up to challenge Kyle for third place.
And that's 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all those cars running for position. Alan Kowicki is in the 6th spot.
I think that's 3, 4, 5, and 6 because Harry Gant passed them a little bit ago. He's in second place and moved on out away from him.
Here's Brett looking to the outside, coming out of turn number 2.
Bill Elliott, here comes Dick Trickle, car number 8. Brett's going to back out of it. He's not going to.
In fact, he lost a position to Elliott.
Yeah. Well, he's learned that you can't charge and take foolish chances on this racetrack because it'll jump up and bite you in a hurry. And he's had a good run here today, stayed in the top 5 all day long. He likes that. Now Trickle trying to move on the inside of Brett Bodine. Brett says, hey, Phil, just let me get strung out here and get my groove back, my rhythm back, and I'll be okay. But they aren't going to let him do that.
Trickle passes him, and now Alan Kowicki and his brother Jeff are on his tail.
Ricky Rudd back. The Kowicki is in the lead lap of these guys, and the Jeff Bodine car is a lap down.
Something dragging on that 42 car.
Well, when he and Brett Bodine got together, it did tear some of the stripping, rubber stripping loose.
Oh, there's some contact between Elliott and Kyle Petty.
And Elliott is going to go to third.
Well, Kyle's going to feel like he's
and look at Brett.
Bumper ball out there.
Oh, Brett had to once again back off when he got into the third turn side by side with Kyle.
And here's Jeff and the Kowicki car once again side by side. Brett's going to try to get on the inside. Kyle Petty decides, okay, I'm going to quit racing these guys because my tires are just simply gone. Let them go. Probably the best thing you do, be come into pits, get some fresh ones, and
he's going to do that. Yeah, he's slowing down.
He must be listening to you, Ben. Here's Kyle off the banking, down on the flat portion of the apron, headed for the pits, and John Crane.
Kyle was going to come in about 20 laps from now, but the car is really loose. And also, the water temperature is up to about 240 degrees because I see him roll in. There's a bunch of rubber on that front grille, so it's not getting cooled the way it should. And now they will bump up the rear spoiler just a little bit. They're tightening the car up as it's gone away and gotten very loose on them. A 4-tire change. They haven't made any move yet to pull that rear bumper strip away. Now they do pull that bumper strip away that had been torn off just a little bit. And now there's a crash caution. Kyle guns the engine and is gone.
Rusty Wallace was involved.
What a tough break for Kyle Petty. He makes a pit stop, and while he's sitting in the pits, the caution flag comes out.
Now everybody else will get to come in during the caution, and that's going to put him at least 1 lap down. Tough break.
Brett Bodine ran in the back of the 2 car. Rusty Wallace has slowed dramatically, and Brett Bodine pulled up behind him and hit him, and around Rusty went, and he did a 360, didn't hit a thing, and kept the car moving in the right direction.
For the 3rd time today, the caution flag waves over the racetrack. This comes on lap 221, and here it is again.
There we see Rusty. Brett pulls up right behind him, starts to go. Starts to go under him, but basically just
ran into it.
Couldn't stop the car in time. Ran the back.
Oh, close there on Alan Kowicki.
It was a nice 360 he made there and headed back in the right direction and all around.
But the driver who suffered because of that caution was Kyle Petty, who was caught in the pits when the yellow came out. Jerry Punch reports on the pit stops that are about to happen.
And Bob, once again, a big break for Harry Gant. He was, they were waiting. The other leaders were going to come in about 10 or 12 laps, but Gant had scheduled himself to come in 2 laps. So the caution comes out at the appropriate time, and they will struggle down pit road. Here is the Haviland Ford of Davey Allison, Bill Elliott, and Harry Gant brings the Oldsmobile to a halt. They will change all 4 tires. They are cleaning the rubber off the front of the car. They say the car is a little bit tight. They plan on putting some tape across the front grill section to try to loosen the car up a little bit. Now, crew member goes and puts some tape across the lower part of the front air dam while left side tires are going on. They're trying to get tape to stick, but there's too much rubber there. Jack is away, and Gant is down and away.
Davey Allison will win the race out of the pits. Gant will be second, then Brett Bodine and Davey Allison, or rather Bill Elliott. And here once again is a replay of the reason we're under caution.
You can see the green car of Brett Bodine coming up quickly on Rusty Wallace, and he looks like he's going to try to go under him and then just hits him from the rear. That's Jeff Bodine up on the outside there. And Rusty does a 360 and does a great job. You can see Alan Kowicki, boy, he had to be holding his breath and just squeezing up there and said, please don't come back up in front of me. And Rusty didn't.
And now here comes the rest of the field in for their pit work. Under caution at Darlington. Back with more ESPN Speed World coverage of the Transouth 500. Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
The construction of a Winston Cup race car varies significantly from that of our passenger cars, but some of the principles remain the same. Take a look at the front of Kenny Schrader's Chevrolet Lumina. Now, the front grill section and bumper are held in place by these small diameter tubes here. Compare these to the large heavy-duty roll bars used for structural integrity. Now, these tubes here are designed to bend or collapse on impact, thereby absorbing some of the energy, much like our energy-absorbing front bumpers on our passenger cars. The thoughts? Well, if you allow some gradual deceleration or energy to be absorbed up front, you can protect the more vital organs within the car, such as the engine or possibly even the driver.
Another safety element built into each of these Winston Cup cars. We are under caution here as the pace car has the field in tow in turn number 4 with 224 laps on the board. Davey Allison is the car right behind the pace car, and he has led all but 26 laps of this event. He has led at least 1 lap in the last 9 Winston Cup races, a streak that goes way back to Charlotte of '91. We have the use of a telestrator. Pablo Parsons has the pen in hand and will demonstrate right now how this crash occurred.
Well, this is going to really be good. We can see the Rusty Wallace car. That's the 2 car, the Miller Genuine Draft car. Looks like that Brett Bodine just closed up on him so fast and closed the gap that Rusty, something might have happened to the car, and there is some contact, just slight contact right there, but all it takes is slight contact. Around goes Rusty, and around, and Alan Kowicki barely gets by. Rusty gets the car headed in the right direction, puts it in about 3rd gear, and drives on.
And he's out on the racetrack now, still 1 lap down. He didn't really lose a whole lot as far as position is concerned. He might have lost his cool there for a moment, but he said, thank God I didn't hit anything.
Could have lost a race car easily.
Yeah.
He's 14th, by the way. Rusty Wallace is 14th on the restart.
Well, he did lose some positions then because he was running in 9th position before that happened.
Excellent crowd on hand here this afternoon as the grandstand here on the main straightaway is full and the one on the backstretch is nearly full. They stand and watch the resumption of this race on the 226 lap. Doyle Ford showing the green flag, and here we go back to racing. Kenny Schrader up there trying to get a lap back.
And he might have it going into turn 3. He does beat Allison into the turn. There's Jeff Bodine, who's been trying to get a lap back since early in the race when he made an unscheduled pit stop for a flat tire. He might get his back.
Ooh, puts Davey out. Davey gets a car sign. Harry Gant takes the lead.
And Ricky Rudd gets a lap back. And here comes Brett Bodine.
Ricky passed Davey, but see Harry Gant had taken the lead, so he has to pass him now before he gets the lap back.
Yep. their laps back. And let's look at that again.
Okay, here Jeff Bodine goes under Davey Allison. Now watch Davey as he goes up to racetrack in the loose stuff and gets the car sideways. Has to get out of the gas, and while he does that, Gant goes blowing by.
So now Harry Gant assumes the lead of this race with Davey Allison second and Brett Bodine third.
In fourth place is Bill Elliott. We don't see him on the screen. He's not too far back.
John Kernan has an update on Kyle Petty.
Bob Kyle came in right before we went back to green. They had to refill the radiator with water. An overheating problem. Robin Pemberton, did that fix it?
Yeah, I hope so. If you look up in the outside the groove on the racetrack, there's a lot of rubber. You know, at this particular place, the tires wear so much. So when he was running hard with Davey, the grill got plugged. So hopefully, I don't think it did any engine damage. It just was an untimely thing to happen.
Well, as I told you before, they've had a lot of gremlins bite them this weekend, and it bit them just again this afternoon, although not a very deep bite, it appeared.
John, he's in 17th position now. He was up there fighting for the lead before that gremlin got him.
Ken Schrader did get a lap back, but he's now falling back, and Harry Gant has passed him once again, so have several others. So Jeff Bodine is still back on the lead lap.
There we see Jeff Bodine, the red car, the red Motorcraft Ford, direct in front of Harry Gant's Skull Bandit.
And a Napa Field summary for you again. Trying to do this at least every 15 minutes.
And you can see Jeff Bodine is in 8th place, so there are 8 cars in the lead lap as long as he stays in front of Harry Gant. Still a lot of cars that are 1 lap down.
All those cars racing for position and racing about as hard as Harry Gant and Davey Allison for the lead. I don't think anybody's racing any harder than Jeff Bodine right now.
Oh, boy, he is wanting a caution right now.
He's got to stay in front of that 33 car so he can get back up and race for the win because he does have a good race car.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, some contact.
Again, contact involving Jeff Bodine, and Harry Gant pulls alongside him going down the backstretch, but Jeff just will not relinquish it. Oh, now Gant passes him.
Well, Gant just drove her right on in there that time.
And here comes Ricky Rudd right behind Harry.
Ooh, tell you what, Harry just piled it down in turn 3.
Well, he knew he had the preferred position going into that turn. So he said, I'm going to take her in there. You'll have to do what you want to up there on that outside.
Well, Harry didn't go as high in turns 1 and 2 as he did a while ago. But without question, this is a Harry Gant racetrack. Does this track fit your driving style, Harry?
No, I think I maybe respect it a little bit, you know. And we always have a good handling car here, though. It's never been it's just bad handling. And that's been key to our success here. One more races here, probably ain't racetrack we won in the Winston Cup circuit. And it's doing the Bush and the Winston Cup together. But I've always had a good car. Always handles good.
Harry Gant, since his win here at the Southern 500 last September, has scored more points than any other Winston Cup driver. Now check this out. As far as manufacturers' points earned since the Southern 500 last year. Who's at the top of that list? Well, it's also Harry Gant, as he has earned Oldsmobile 76 points with an average finish of just over 4. Darlington is the scene of the Transouth 500. Back in a moment. The first of 16 Winston Cup races televised in 1992 on ESPN Speed World. This is the Transouth 500 from Darlington Raceway in Darlington, South Carolina. Our Speed World coverage is brought to you by Buick and your local Buick dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. And by Smooth Busch Beer and easy drinking Busch Light. Few clouds overhead, but by and large a nice Sunday afternoon here in the Carolinas. One car detected with some smoke. That's the #1 car of Rick Mast that has been black flagged and will drop down low on the racetrack and allow the others to pass by, including Michael Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt. Mast coming in. His finishes here at Darlington last year in the 13th and an 11th.
I think it's tire smoke or something, because I saw the car the lap before they black flagged down in turn 1. And, oh, Brett Bodine spins down in turn 1.
I think he's going to keep it off the wall. He's low on the track. Got the car sideways. A lot of smoke coming from the tires, and the caution is out.
Well, I tell you, he's another lucky soul, like Rusty Wallace was, that he didn't slide back up in front of the oncoming traffic.
John Kernan, what's your report from the pits?
Well, just a few laps ago, Brett had radioed in and said the car was just too tight, that it did not want to turn when he would take it down into turn 1. So apparently some kind of a handling problem there. They've been working on that chassis all day long. Now, also concerning Rick Mast, he did have a tire rubbing. There was some contact between he and Dale Earnhardt as it came out of turn 4 just a couple of laps before we saw the tire smoke. Brett has just radioed in and told the crew that he will just need tires, that the car, other than that, is okay. But he does have a flat left front tire, we can see.
He's going to definitely need a left front, because that's obviously flat.
And one reason that car might have been pushing so bad if that left front tire was going down. And you can see it there.
He went in the corner so slow that Dick Trickle and behind in the Snickers Ford had no choice. He ran in the back of him. Basically what happened to Rusty Wallace deal, and around goes Brett Bodine.
As pit stops occur, Jerry Punch reports.
And as expected, Harry Gant, Bill Elliott, Davey Allison, and like the lead cars come down pit road. Gant will get 4 tires as the crew now going to work on that machine. They just pitted about 22 laps ago, about 18 laps ago actually, so they don't really need it, but they have no choice but to come in and take fresh rubber. Gant now getting left side tires. Service being completed down pit road on the Bill Elliott machine and Davey Allison. As Harry Gant is off the jack and heads down pit road. We'll watch that race down toward turn 1, and this time Harry Gant is the first car back to turn 1.
And Bill Elliott is the second car this time. Here's Alan Kawicki going in on the backstretch.
The only car able to pit on the back straightaway is Alan Kawicki, because he's the only car pitting back there on the lead lap. But now he's got to start behind all those cars that just pitted before.
And Brett Bodine comes in, and they are changing all 4 tires on that car that spun down in turn number 1, bringing out our 4th caution of the day. Quick service completed on the Quaker State Ford, and Brett Bodine is back underway. We'll take another break and be back with more from Darlington in just a moment. ESPN Speed World coverage of the Transouth 500 under the 4th caution of the day, and Elmo Langley, former driver in Winston Cup competition, who now pilots the pace car, is out there with the field under tow. Now let's go to the crew cam, and Todd Parrott from Rusty Wallace's Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac team.
Turn the tires around, drops off the right front, goes around, drops off the right rear. Now he goes around the left side. Oh, he's going to work on the spoiler a little bit while he's there. He's bending it down to reduce the drag on down the straightaway and take some of the down pressure in the corner off the rear end.
He's a busy person, not only grabbing the tires, but making the spoiler adjustment and making sure other things happen while Rusty is in for probably somewhere around 20, 22 seconds, something like that.
Meanwhile, Brett Bodine has been in 3 times during this caution flag.
245 laps are completed while we are under caution. Another break, and back with more racing in a moment. Once again, the green flag has just come out. About a half a lap of action on lap 248, as Jeff Bodine has once again gotten his lap back. Harry Gant is the leader. That last car that went by there in the speed shot, despite the fact that he told us in the garage area he was out of the race, Darrell Waltrip has taken the Western Auto Chevy back onto the racetrack.
Bill Elliott, meanwhile, going for 4 in a row. He's moved up to 2nd spot. That red 11, the big Bud coming at you, in 2nd spot now.
He's in contention once again.
He's won in the Winston Cup circuit.
It's Kyle Petty. Of course, Kyle a lap down with that green flag pit stop he made.
He should be
position, I believe. Yes, 8th position. Jeff Bodine is 7th. There are 6 cars. Well, actually, 7 cars in the lead lap, counting Jeff Bodine. He is indeed in the lead lap.
And it isn't very much of a question who was the most recent driver to win 4 races in a row. If Bill can pull that feat off today, it, of course, was Harry Gant.
Mr. September.
Yeah.
What month did he do that in, Bob?
I think it was October, wasn't it? Here's the Napa field summary. Watch for your favorite driver. You haven't congratulated me on the excellent performance of the Indiana University Hoosiers last night yet, Vinny.
I was waiting on the Duke University congrats. Congrats.
Okay.
Did you see that ball game?
That was unbelievable.
Man.
Duke had a much tougher game than IU did.
Yeah,
they did.
No doubt
They sure
about
did.
it. Pulled away.
There's some drivers that are 2 laps down, and Hamilton and Irvin, or Mast rather, 3 laps down. So Dave Marcus.
Hutch Strickland having a problem. His crew just went to the garage area with their rolling toolbox, so Hut having a problem. He was up in the top 7 because he was on the lead lap before he started having his problems.
Jeff Bodine, his Motograph Ford runs awfully well for about 10 laps. And then his car, Harry Gant's car, starts to be a little bit more dominant. The Skull Bannock car starts to be a little bit more dominant.
If he could catch a caution soon after they go back to green, he would be able to get his lap back. But we have these long periods of green, and his car goes away, and he loses a lap.
We see Harry now closing up on the back off, and here he comes on the inside.
And there he goes.
Puts Jeff Bodine down a lap once again.
Here comes Bill Elliott, still running in 2nd position, and we talked earlier about the possibility of 4 in a row here this afternoon, and we asked him earlier in the weekend, can you accomplish that feat?
I don't know. You know, this racetrack's always a situation at any point in time. And they come out with this different spoiler change and stuff, and it'll take a bit of time for everybody to get adjusted to it, and I don't know what that's going to do.
Elliott 2nd to the leader, Harry Gant. Now, running in 3rd position is Davey Allison. 4th position is Mark Martin, and in 5th is Alan Kulwicki.
And in 6th place will be Brett Bodine. Those are the 6 cars on the lead lap. Kyle Petty now has moved into 7th after he passed Jeff Bodine. So Bodine would be 8th. Each of those cars are a lap down.
And there is 4th and 5th, Martin and Kulwicki, and there's Ricky Rudd.
Now he too is a lap down, so he's the next car. He would be in the 8th position.
Martin is closing in though on Davey, who's in 3rd. Allison has not been as strong here in the last 50 laps as he was in the first half of the race.
Either he is not as strong or the others have gotten a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
And how many times have we seen Harry Gant come on at the last half of the race?
You're right.
And it'd be tough to make an excuse for Davey, but again, medically, his spokesperson, Brian Bounder, told me he was really not feeling well and was in danger of losing his voice. And it worked out some hand signals so he could communicate with the crew in case he did lose his voice. And we hear Martin's pulled up on the back, and there's Kyle Petty moved over on the inside, going very slow.
Yeah, he's coming in. That overheating problem might have gotten to him.
Davey trying to get by. Jeff Bodine pulls on the inside of him and here comes Martin.
Oh, yeah, Brass.
3 wide down into turn 1.
Then Alan Kulwicki goes 3 wide. Somebody's got to back off.
Whoa, and Marcus sideways, and he saved it.
What a giant. Kulwicki goes up and almost hits the wall. They're still out of control up there. No, I think they're under control now. I'm out of control.
Wow.
Man, Martin, just like a shot out of a cannon coming up 4, made it 3 wide, and look what happened.
Well, he cleared Davey Allison, but Alan Kulwicki got in there, and he had to run in the corner so hard that he hit Mark Martin when Martin backed off to go into the turn. A miracle that they watched those cars.
Watch Kulwicki go up and almost get in the wall.
Yep. Well, that puts Mark now in 3rd, Davey in 4th, and Allen in 5th.
What a job of saving the race car, going in the corner, off the gas. That's like saving the car on ice. Off the gas. You know you can't do that. What a great job.
There's Harry. And not too far behind is Bill Elliott. He is now within a fraction of a second. Can Elliott make it 4 in a row here at Darlington today? We'll be back in a moment. America's Cup racing certainly isn't as fast, but it's definitely as exciting, and they'll have onboard cameras just like we have onboard cameras here at the Transouth 500. The 5th Winston Cup race of the year. We're glad you could join us live for the first of 16 Winston Cup telecasts on the ESPN schedule for 1992. Next is Bristol next weekend, but between now and then, catch up on what happened during this race as you join us for our checkered flag program tomorrow night at 5:30. We will have a recap of this race and all the behind-the-scenes activity that went on. The checkered flag series, 5:30 tomorrow evening here on ESPN.
And Bill Elliott looks to me like he's gaining just a tick on Harry Gant.
I think he is. He's just barely creeping up on him. He's another sort of cagey one, sort of like Gant. You never know what he has until the end. And I'm sure they've been making some adjustments on the Budweiser Ford at each of these pit stops. So he's right in.
Just about 4 or 5 car lengths separating first and second.
Even a racetrack between Elliott and Martin third.
And this is an awfully good race for 4 spot. Davey Allison, Alan Kowicki. Kowicki is running extremely high down in turn 1. Last time I thought he went in and had a flat tire so high. As he goes in the corner, watches the car goes right up to the wall. And that time not as nearly as high as it was a little bit ago, but and Davey almost loses the back end. Kowicki tries to get alongside and takes a spot away.
Alan Kowicki goes to 4th place. And I tell you, Alan, well, now wait a minute. Davey's going to battle back here in third turns 3 and 4. Nope, Alan's going to hold him off. Kowicki to 4th. He started 25th. But a great run for Kowicki in the Hooters Ford today.
Especially since he's had to get on the backstretch. But once they got down to 6 or 7 cars in the lead lap, that helped his case.
And look, your Bill Elliott has closed up right on the back bumper of Harry Gant. I cannot believe the year that Elliott and this Bud team is having.
He has a championship year going. There's no question about that. When you combine the talent of Bill Elliott, the talent of Junior Johnson and Tim Brewer and everybody else on the crew, plus the tremendous luck that Bill has been having in the first 4 races, he is on championship pace. But still second in the point standings. And as you saw in the beginning of the show, these 2 guys right here are tied for second in the point standings. 58 behind the leader of the Winston Cup quest, Davey Allison.
Now one of them will get ahead of the other after this race because they can't be tied as Davey Allison continues to slip back. Ricky Rudd moves around him. That was not for position. Rudd is a lap down. But both Harry Gant and Bill Elliott have led today, got the 5 bonus points. Neither of them could lead enough laps to get that other 5 bonus points, so whichever finishes in front of the other one will move into second place in the points. That is assuming they both finish and somebody else doesn't move up there.
We saw Ricky Rudd going by Davey Allison. You know, David, he's dropped back a little bit. He might have lost a handle on that car here in the last 10 or 15 laps.
Well, it might have, and maybe as you said earlier, not feeling well. I'll tell you, this is the time of the race after as hard as he's been racing out there that he might not be feeling this good.
Well, everything is pretty much single file at this time, and the race settled down here with 269 laps completed, so we'll take a break and be back with another field summary after this. Bob Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch back at Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. Harry Gant leading Bill Elliott by the shortest of margins with 272 laps finished here in this 367 lap race. Here's another Napa field summary as we run down the entire field for you and where these guys are running at the moment.
All those 5 cars, of course, in the lead lap. And so is Brett Bodine. And we have a lot of cars that are one lap down. Red, Jeff Bodine, Labonte, Michael Walker back to 15th place.
Dale Earnhardt again has not led a lap today, so that streak continuing, a streak that he would like very much to break soon.
Just 2 cars in 2 laps down here. Derek Cope and Ted Musgrave. So those 2 cars racing for position.
Kyle Petty still in 23rd position, even though he is out of the race in the Mellow Yellow Pontiac. Apparently that overheating problem he had has caused some engine damage, and he is out of the race.
You know, we saw Bill Elliott, and we always talk about saving the tires and saving this and saving that. He made a run at Harry Gant a little bit earlier, what, 10, 15 laps ago. Closed up on the back bumper, thought he might take the lead. Saw that he couldn't. He just backed off, took it easy, and that's what we mean.
Here's Elliott going for the lead, and he's got it into turn 1. Bill Elliott goes in front of Harry Gant and takes the lead on the 275th lap.
Well, Gant wants it back. No, he's going to back off, so there's no point. In fact, there's no point in either one of them taking any big chances there. They're both getting on television while they're running first and second, and they can't lead enough laps, as I said earlier, to get the 5-point bonus. So,
oh, look at that puff of smoke that came from Gant's car.
Yes, sir. That's coming out the exhaust pipe too, fellas.
Ooh, that may indicate some problems. Hey,
he's still running good, right on the back bumper of Bill Elliott, but
you know. Might have been brakes.
Boy, it looked like it was coming through the center of the car, right at the exhaust pipe there. I don't know. Could have been something else, and maybe the smoke was just coming out of the front, and we were just seeing it at the middle. And look who's coming up, fellas.
It's
Mark Martin is gaining on him.
Mark is in 3rd.
You're right. He has gained on both those cars. So Harry Gant definitely has a problem. He definitely has some type of problem.
Definitely falling back now to Elliott. They have separated themselves by 10, 15 car lengths, and Mark Martin is closing rapidly on Harry.
Alan Kowicki is not that far behind Mark Martin. Well, he is really coming in on Harry Gant. This Gant is slowing down. And Mark Martin, really before, I started to mention a moment ago, fellas, that he was creeping up on him. Then we got to watching them battle up there for the lead. And forgot about it until right now, and he's coming right on.
Well, let's go down to Jerry Punch. He's with Andy Petrie. Maybe we can find out what the problem is with Harry.
Andy, just a minute ago, we saw a little bit of smoke out of the front of the car. Is there a problem with Harry?
I don't think so. I think maybe he just got in that corner a little bit hard. Maybe locked up that front wheel. It might have been what the smoke was. He didn't say anything on the radio.
He has slowed down. You think it's maybe just the tires giving up?
Yeah, you know, we're not being able to get much wear out of them right now. I don't know what the deal is. We're going to pit here in about 5 or 6 laps and see what happens.
Well, we'll watch for Harry Gant to make that pit stop in about 5 laps here and for 4 fresh tires. Bob?
Well, that wouldn't account for why we saw the smoke, but it certainly would account for the fact that the car is slowing down. The tires are just going away on the car, and now he drives it way up on the wall.
Yeah, he's trying to find himself a groove where the car feels, and he's found himself a little bit better of a groove because he's starting to maintain that difference between he and Bill Elliott. So he's found a better way around the racetrack.
So we should be seeing pit stops here in the next 5, 6, 7, as many as 10 laps. As Gant is 3rd, Martin is 4th, there is Mark, and back in 5th position, not too far behind, is Alan Kowicki. Great run today for Alan in the Hooters Ford.
Tell you what, he's been having a great run this entire year, that car. At Richmond, he came 18 inches of winning a race, beating Bill Elliott. But he lacked 18 inches. Bill Elliott won the race, and Kowicki will forever be in the records book as a 2nd place finisher. And look how high he's going up in 1 and 2.
Here's a Big A Auto Parts on-track interval. Now, we timed 2 different cars. Elliott, the leader, and Alan Kowicki running back there in 4th position. And look how he has closed in, narrowing it from a 3.6-second interval on lap 268 to a 2.9-second interval at the end of 272 laps.
And the same thing holds true for Mark Martin because he has been moving closer and closer to Bill Elliott, the leader.
There's gaining about 0.2 of a second a lap. You can see Elliott was running about 32.6 and Kowicki 32.4.
So it is Bill Elliott, followed by Harry Gant, Mark Martin, Alan Kowicki, and then Davey Allison.
Well, for the Ernie Irvin fans, he has taken his Kodak Film Chevrolet to the garage area. He had a problem earlier with the car and was many laps down, but now he's out of the race.
Well, these cars running different lines all the way around the racetrack. We see Bill Elliott running right on the bottom of the racetrack, Gant and Kowicki running up on top of the racetrack, and if I'm not mistaken, Mark is running on the bottom of the track. So 4 cars all running different spots. See much lower on the racetrack. Well, Mark moves up now behind Harry.
And then we've had a cloud cover to move in here in the last 45 or so minutes, which maybe changes, I'm sure it changes the racetrack some. The sun is not beaming down on it, maybe not quite as slick as it was a little bit earlier, and might be working better for some. Maybe for Mark Martin, it might be one who's working better for him.
And Harry Gant is going extremely high. And you know, I would bet, Ned, that you brought up the key to what's never happened to Harry Gant. It's overcast, and the car is slowed down a little bit.
Harry Gant will pit in about 5 more laps as Mark Martin is really working on him now here for second spot. And now Mark Martin pulls to the inside. He's got Bobby Hamilton right there on the inside, which means he cannot pull off the pass. He has to brake and fall in behind Harry Gant, but now he may mount another challenge here in the second turn.
I tell you what, that is close when they cut across the nose of that car like that. Just inches apart.
All right, we'll take a break and be back for the pit stops, which are coming up soon in the Transouth 500 from Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. Back in a moment. Bill Elliott continues to lead this Winston Cup race at Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. And Mark Martin has taken over second because Harry Gant just could not wait any longer, and he had to come in for a pit stop. Now watch Mark Martin pass Harry Gant.
This is down in turn 1. They go in the corner. Gant's car moves up the racetrack. Martin decides, and we can say, when I say up the racetrack, really up the racetrack, Martin says, okay, I'll go on the inside of him. As they come off the corner, Martin has to let his car go up. Harry's car brings his car down, and boom. There's a tire mark on the 33. That black spot was not there just a second ago.
Yeah, he got the Darlington stripe on the wrong side.
And like I say, Harry just couldn't wait any longer. The tires were gone on the Skoal Bandit Oldsmobile. You can see the tire mark there on the side of the car. And so he did come in, got 4 fresh Goodyears. Quick pit stop for Harry. Back on the racetrack he went.
Now he's going to be running a lot faster than the leaders, fellas. Now, as a result of having those new tires on, they can run for a while as far as gas is concerned, but how long can they afford to run? Now, can they go far enough that they can make it on just one more pit stop? Gant will have to stop twice.
Gant falls into 7th position as he comes back out onto the racetrack a lap down.
We're looking from inside Mark Martin's car. That's the Derek Cope Pure Leader Chevrolet directly in front of him.
We're still on record pace. The record is 135.5, and the speed at this point is over 137. Ricky Rudd, remember, is the record holder, having set it last year at this race. Martin goes to the outside and passes Derek Cope.
Brakes. Now we're down to 132, 127, 120 miles per hour. The lowest spot. You know, it just doesn't look, folks. I mean, you sit at home, you say, I can't believe this. It doesn't look that fast. Y'all be in there. It's that fast, I'm telling you.
175 before the break point.
There's Darrell Waltrip that Mark Martin just went around. That's Michael Waltrip up there in front of him.
Notice that 147 was the lowest speed there in the 3rd and 4th turns, and that is faster than they will be in 1 and 2.
About 27 miles per hour.
Jerry Punch has a comment.
Well, we all know Harry Gant has to make at least one more pit stop. We'll have to make one more stop for fuel. However, Bill Elliott, remember what happened in Atlanta, being on a lap to himself? He will make one more stop, and that's it, folks. He should come in about lap 303, 304, 305, somewhere like that, and that should be his last stop if we go green the rest of the way. Davey Allison is trying to stretch his fuel mileage so he can make one more stop and call it a day himself if they should go green. Let's check in on the other end of pit road with John Kernan. John?
Well, Jerry, Mark Martin has the same strategy. They're going to pit around lap 3:05. They figure it will be their last stop, unless, of course, there is a caution. But that's the strategy right here. One more stop. They figure to shoot it out with Bill Elliott.
Okay, what do you think, Ned? I think that Harry Gant will beat them both if he stops.
Well, Harry is definitely going to have to stop again, but he's out there turning lefts right now a good bit faster than they, and of course all of them will take on 4 tires when they come in. But I don't know, Ben, with only, say, 125 or 30 miles to go when Harry made his pit stop, I don't know if that's enough time that he can make an extra pit stop and make up all that difference in time.
Our congratulations to Ernest Strauss of Burtonsville, Maryland, winner in the Gillette Halfway Challenge sweepstakes. He correctly named Davey Allison as the leader at the halfway point and won a Chevrolet Lumina Z34. Now, entries are now being accepted for the next race. Call 1-900-436-7000. The call will cost you 95 cents. You have to be 18 years or over. Or you can send your name and telephone number to Gillette Halfway Challenge, Post Office Box 1868, South Hackensack, New Jersey, zip code 07606.
We've been talking about what a difference a new tires make.
Man, you're seeing it there. You know what I was saying right before Bob went into that halfway challenge winner? Harry Gant, as fast as he's running, Benny, he might be able to make that extra pit stop and still be there with him.
And still win the race. I mean, the Brad Brake he could get right now, if the caution flag was to come out, he would be a lap down.
Oh, yeah. That is until he catches that 11 car and gets by him. Now, we see Davey Allison's crew ready for him to come in. Now, they haven't got to that 305 mark yet that they were predicting they would go to.
But Davey Allison's car is getting slower and slower and slower. He needs to come out.
Here's Gant just blowing by Bill Elliott's Budweiser Ford. That's Cole Oldsmobile taking off.
He's now back on the lead lap.
Yeah. And these other crews have got to figure. They got to calculate and say, hey, we know he's got to make another pit stop, but the way he's running now, I don't know.
If he's running 10 seconds per lap faster, it doesn't take long.
Not 10 seconds. 2 seconds. Yeah, okay.
Now here's your Napa field summary once again. Now you will notice as we go to the second 5 that Gant here is shown as a lap down. That's not correct because just momentarily he got the lap back, but he hasn't been officially scored in that position.
And Ken Schrader now is going 2 laps down as Bill Elliott moved around him. There we see Ernie Irvin has dropped out. Kyle Petty, of course, has dropped out, so they are way down the line. So are these cars. DW is back out there running. Darrell Walker in car number 17.
And here is Davey Allison coming in for a pit stop. He gives up 4th position to come in. Jerry, he's headed for you.
And Bob, they can run about 68 to 69 laps on fuel. From this point to the end, they would have exactly 68 laps to go. They bring the car to a halt, jack the right side up. We would expect, as usual, to see a 4-tire change, clean the windshield, they're cleaning the grill, making sure that no stone left unturned. Lug nuts coming off the left side. Jack fan coming around to the left. Left side tires being pulled away, and they are making a significant chassis adjustment in the right rear of the car. The car had been pushing some. They're trying to get the car back. Davey is down and away. Pretty good pit stop on the green.
Ned, you hit the nail on the head a little bit ago. When the clouds came in, it became overcast. These cars started pushing and started handling poorly. Davey Allison's and Harry Gant, both those cars had to make some adjustments because of the weather change.
First half of the race, they were absolutely the fastest cars out there, but that weather can make a big difference. I don't believe he can go the rest of the way now.
And Alan Kowicki's going in on the back straightaway in that Hooters Ford.
He gives up 3rd position as Davey builds up speed in the Haviland Ford. There is Allen coming in on lap 301. We've got 46 laps to go in this event.
Paul Andrews and the crew goes to work on that car. It's going to be a 4-tire stop.
Looks like the car overheating a little as there's some fluid coming out.
That's how right behind the right rear tire. The hose from the radiator goes all the way back there. We see him scrubbing that rubber off the grill.
And Rusty Wallace is in, and Todd Parrott once again wears our crew cam. Gathering up the tires on the right side, coming around to the left.
We've seen several cars overheat as we watch Todd Parrott do his work there. Several cars overheat here today. There's a lot of rubber. We talked about the wear here today. It's scrubbing that rubber off those tires, and it's getting in the grill of these these cars and causing some overheating.
Mark Martin is also in, and John Kernan will call this stop by Mark.
Well, of course, it's going to be a 4-tire change. They're in about 2 laps earlier than what they had previously told us, but their strategy is still the same. Jack Roush and Steve Hill put their heads together moments ago after timing Harry Gant. They think that by doing it this way, they can still beat Harry Gant, that they will not have enough time to catch him. Bill Elliott is on his way down pit road, the leader of the race. Martin still sitting in, left side's going on. Now Mark is away, and Jerry Punch down in Elliott's pit.
Mr. March brings his car. What could be his final pit stop. Just 64 laps away from the checkered flag. The Budweiser crew, now they hand Elliott a cold drink, cleaning the windshield, being very deliberate. Remember the air gun problem they had early in the race cost them 12.5 seconds. And now Tim Brewer completing the right front tire. Comes around to the left side. Jack beneath the left side of the car. 2 fresh tires. Windshield is clean. Gas in the car. Got to get it full. Got to go 64 laps. He is down and away.
And Davey Allison just passed Harry Gant on the racetrack to take over command.
Boy, that adjustment they made on that 28 car seems to have really helped. Now, they're going to have a pretty good lead on whoever comes out in the...
Probably Elliott.
The third place. It should be Bill Elliott, I would guess.
Yeah.
Now, Harry Gant will end up being the leader currently.
Yeah, Elliott, then Martin, then Kowicki. Well, we'll sort things out, but we do know one thing for certain. Davey Allison in car number 28, the Hamilton Ford, is back on top of this Transouth 500 as we're nearing the end of this event. We'll take a break and be back with more in a moment. Coming up next, right after the conclusion of this Winston Cup race, the Defender and the Challenger semifinals of the America's Cup from San Diego with Jim Kelly in the group. That's immediately following our telecast of this event here at Darlington.
How fast those boats run? Go.
Well,
what do you call them?
They're not boats, Benny. They're yachts or whatever.
Well, okay. How fast do they go? Whatever they are.
Well, they don't go 175 miles an hour. I can't tell you that.
We're going from 175 to...
Yeah. Whatever. And you know what else? When we took a break, we said one thing for certain was that Davey Allison was back on top. Wrong.
No, we didn't say that. You said that.
Well, but you didn't correct me, so Davey was just getting his lap back. Harry Gant is still the leader, and as a matter of fact, he has a pretty sizable lead on Bill Elliott.
About a half a lap, as a matter of fact. That's about how far ahead he is. And that's as a result of having the new tires on and picking up more than a second a lap until the others came in. Now, Gant will have to come in probably in another 30 laps or something like that, I would guess.
You're not going to let me get away with mistakes like that this year, are you, Benny?
No, I mean, the producer was counting us down to break. I couldn't just blurt in right then. I waited till we went to break, and then I hit you over the head.
That's for sure.
Gant came in 17 laps before Bill Elliott did this time.
Now, here are two cars that are battling for position. That's Mark Martin, number 6, and number 7, and they're battling for third with Dick Trickle leading the who is not on the same lap.
They're numerically correct on the racetrack. Yep. The wiki wants to transpose those numbers. We see Mark Martin waving to Dick Trickle and said, hey, get out of the way.
We appreciate the telemetry supplied by Ford in this race, showing us some great stuff, RPMs and miles an hour, and when the driver touches the brake, which he does right now.
182 miles an hour, so Martin is really driving that car hard now, trying to make up that difference between he and Bill Elliott. Because that's who he's racing. He is racing Bill Elliott. Alan Kowicki, I think, is racing Harry Gant. And Gant's going to win that battle if Kowicki, in fact, does have to stop again.
Now, it looks like the windshield is broken on Mark's car, huh? A little crack there on the left side.
That's not really anything to be concerned about. Now, NASCAR would make them change that before the race. They couldn't start the race with that, but once the race starts, it's not really a big problem.
There's the leader, Harry Gant, just circling around here. Had a pretty good clip. And we're going to look for that 11. I got my trusty stopwatch on Gant, and we'll see how much of a difference there is. A little bit ago, it was about 15.5 seconds. And now here comes Elliott, and he's closed it down to 12.6 seconds. Wow. So with the newer tires, he really is picking catching up on Gant. And Gant has another pit stop to make. Elliott can go the distance.
Well, Jerry is with an individual from another sport who obviously likes auto racing. Huh, Jerry?
That's right, Bob. We know that Joe Gibbs is a winning football coach in the NFL, and one of Joe Gibbs' good buddies is one of the winningest Division I football coaches in college ranks, and that is Ken Hatfield from the Clemson Tigers. And Ken, welcome to Darlington, but you're not here to watch. You're actually working. You got your own team uniform, and what do they have you doing?
Well, we were doing great. We were fourth before one of our stripped one of the gears, had put a whole new transmission in, but Dale's running good out there today.
Now, you're in the middle of spring ball for the Clemson Tigers. 2 very, very successful years. What's 93 look like or 92 look like for the Tigers?
We're going to have a good football team, Jerry. We got some great people coming back, but Richard Moncrief will be our quarterback. But our main tradition is great offensive and defensive linemen and great defensive tradition. So we're going to have a good team, Jerry.
Coach Ken Hatfield here at the Clemson Tigers, a guest and a working guest here in the Dale Jarrett pit. Gentlemen.
Also, Coach Hatfield asked the blessing, or said the prayer, the closing prayer at church service this morning. Also said the invocation before the race today.
Nice touch by the coach. Gant is the leader with 316 out of 347 laps complete. Stand by. Will it be Gant or Elliott at Darlington? Glad you could join us on this Sunday afternoon for the first of 16 Winston Cup telecasts in 1992, the Transouth 500 from Darlington Raceway, South Carolina. Harry Gant in the Bandit Oldsmobile. Car number 33 is the leader of the race at the moment, with Bill Elliott second, followed by Mark Martin, Alan Kowicki, and Davey Allison. Has the interval between Gant and Elliott reduced, Ned?
Yes, it has. Elliott has closed it down to just a fraction over 9 seconds. At one time, he was about 12 seconds behind, and now he has moved. In fact, he was 15 seconds behind at one time, and now has closed it down to less than 10. Harry Gant and Ricky Rudd. Rudd made a pit stop not long ago. He has fresher tires than does Gant as they switch places on the racetrack.
And here is concrete evidence from the Big A Auto Parts on-track interval that the gap is shortening. Lap 310, the interval between Gant and Elliott was 14.7 seconds. And it continued to go down to 12 seconds even at the end of lap 314. And you can see that Elliott's lap times are considerably faster than Gant, so that's the reason the interval is lessening.
Yeah, now we're at 321 laps, and so it has gotten below 10 seconds now. In fact, below 9 seconds. Now, it'll be interesting to see how long. I believe Gant's fixing to come in here before long, fellas. I think that he's seeing that lead slip away, so he's going to come in and get those new tires on now. I think that's a smart move, because if caution should come out late, well, then he would be in position to get back in the lead lap, even if he goes a lap
Here it comes right now.
Yep, he's coming in. Jerry Punch is right there. There are 26 laps to go in this race, Jerry.
And Harry Gant, as you said, gentlemen, will take the opportunity to go ahead and come on pit road to get the tires on the car. Now, about 3 pit stops ago, they found out that Harry had a right rear tire going down. They come in now, and we will watch and see if they will change all 4 tires. And yes, they will. Taking the lug nuts off the left side. Harry Gant on pit road, about 45 laps away from the checkered flag. Skull Crew now completing the right side. Charlie Preston puts the jack plate to the left side of the car. Bill Elliott is in turn 3 in the Budweiser Ford. We'll watch Elliott now coming toward turn 4. As he heads out of turn 4, here is Harry Gant. 19-second pit stop. Great effort as Gant heads for turn 1. And Elliott also heads for turn 1 on the racetrack.
Well, he'll put a lap on him. Elliott, with the speed up, he will be in front of him, but it won't take Harry Gant long to run him down with those new tires. Another fantastic pit stop by Andy Petrie and the boys in the Skull Bandit pits there, 19 seconds.
And Harry is picking up speed quickly on the backstretch, and so with those 4 tires, he could unlap himself even the next few laps. And thanks for the correction, it is 46 or now 44 laps to the other.
Didn't you bring your calculator again, Bob?
347 was the end of the race. This is 367. Sorry.
I'm telling you. But Harry Gant's got a problem right now. There's a lot of traffic. Well, he's going to dispose of that traffic.
Yeah, he'll dispose of that traffic in a hurry. Just went around Alan Kowicki. He is in heavy traffic. Bill Elliott is right in front of that heavy traffic. We'll see that traffic right behind Elliott here in just a moment as Elliott goes into turn 3. And here he comes around Mark Martin, who is running in second place.
Boy, he's just passing cars right and left.
Yeah, he'll just motor right on by with those new tires. That's what they'll do for you. Now, he's got 2 cars right there running side by side that he can't go anywhere. That's Dick Trickle and the car number 94 of Terry Labonte. Yeah, just looking for a place to go.
And he found it.
Yeah. You get both of them right here.
Yeah, Martin was really loose coming off the corner. About lost the rear end of it. And Harry again goes to the high side to pass Dick Trickle. And now he is really passing cars.
Yeah, and the Skoll crew holding their breath until he can get by Bill Elliott. Then it wouldn't matter if a caution comes out. But right now, they don't want a caution.
There's Bill.
Boy, those new tires make such a big difference.
There's Bill Elliott we see on the screen.
Well, you can't argue with the tremendous season that Bill has had, comparing the 89, 90, 91, and 92 seasons, finishing 6th in the points in 89, 4th in 90, 11th in 91, currently 2nd in the points. He has led 48% of the laps completed in 1992.
Now we'll watch Elliott. The next car directly behind him now is the 33 car of Harry Gant. There he is.
Yep.
But now Gant passes him. He will be back in the lead lap. But to win the race, Harry's going to have to go all the way around the racetrack. Can he do it in just 40 laps?
That's, I think it's going to be tough for him to do, Benny, because he's going to run the car hard. He's going to abuse those tires. He's having to run it hard right now to get back in the lead lap, just in case the caution comes out here pretty quickly.
You can only hope for a caution sometime between now and the end of the race.
He got a tough break right there because he had to back off the gas a little bit because Elliott came down and crossed his path and went in the groove he was going in. Now he should be able to go underneath Bill Elliott and get by him easily. Okay, now can he make up a lap in the next 40? It's going to be tough.
Oh, I tell you, there are a lot of Harry fans down here in the grandstand below us that are going crazy as Harry has unlocked. But Elliott remains in command, looking for win number 4 in Winston Cup competition. Back at Darlington, where Bill Elliott leads the Transouth 500 in the Budweiser Ford. Behind him, though, about a straightaway behind him, a string of cars, including 2nd place Mark Martin and 3rd place Alan Kowick.
These guys, how long have they been together? For the last 200 miles? It seems that way anyway.
And Benny, as you pointed out to us here during the commercial break, they were gaining on Bill Elliott before they got in that heavy traffic when Harry Gant blew through all of them there, and they lost a lot of time to Elliott, so Elliott's sitting out there in good shape right now.
That's Jeff Bodine, the Motorcraft Ford direct in front of these two. That's not for position. Bodine is in 8th spot. He's a lap down. 2 laps down, I'm sorry.
Now, if you fans are wondering how far Harry Gant has pulled ahead of Bill Elliott while we were away on that commercial break, 46 seconds. Now, it's taking them a little over 32 seconds to go around the racetrack. Does he have enough time?
It's going to be tough. It is.
Because, again, his tires are going to get heated up as hard as he's driving right now. He has no choice but to run that thing as hard as it'll possibly go, and that's going to abuse those tires, so he won't get as much advantage per lap as he has been getting for the last 8 or 10 laps.
Well, let's check the interval now between Bill Elliott, the leader, and 2nd place Mark Martin.
The white car's Martin. Here he comes. 4.3 seconds.
4 seconds, yeah.
There's Mark Martin running 2nd, and Alan Kowick is 3rd. Davey Allison is 4th. Harry Gant is in 5th place.
Those are 5 cars on the lead lap. Lap down in 6th is Brett Bodine. Talk about the tire build-up very graphically there on the top of turn 4. Yep. And it's still the same, 4.3 seconds.
Look at Kowicki. We didn't see him went off camera, but he's going awfully high down in the corner. Mark Martin running the low groove. And both of them wiggling off the corner, and they've got another 31 laps to put up with that wiggle. At least Harry Gant's not wiggling.
No. He might catch those guys. If they keep wiggling. Now he's 5 seconds in front of Bill Elliott, so he's running more than a half a second a lap faster than Bill Elliott. And how long can he continue to do that?
Watch Kawicki as he goes over. Watch this, he goes way up high. And watch the car, he wiggled again.
He wiggled big time then. That was a big wiggle. And Dick Trickle was able to put himself ahead of Allen. There's Tim Brewer surveying the situation with his driver.
Wonder what he's saying. That's Steve Neal, Jack Roush.
Watching Mark Martin. And Junior Johnson, the leader of the Budweiser team, also looks on.
Turn around, Junior. I bet he's excited.
Oh, you bet.
I've never seen Junior excited in my life. The one with the white hair, that's Junior. Or is that gray?
Gray.
Silver.
Yeah.
There's the leader, Bill Elliott.
And we'll show you where Harry Gant is in relationship to Bill.
And away over there in turn 2.
There he is.
I don't know. Does Harry Gant need a caution flag to catch up, or is he better off this way? Those Fords are fast, awfully fast. And if the caution flag comes out, he's got 3 or 4 of them to race. And he would have to start basically behind all of them. If the pit stops went okay, he may be better off trying to run them down.
He's very close to taking over 4th place from Davey Allison. There's Elliott lapping the 30 Pennzoil car of Michael Waltrip.
Bill's car didn't wiggle too much.
There's Trickle, who is not in a battle for position with Mark Martin.
And let's see, Harry Gant, he went by Davey Allison, so he's
4th.
That's the 4th.
Boy, what a story this would be, huh? Ending Bill Elliott's win streak and doing it the way he has done it or is doing it. In any case, Elliott continues to hold on to the lead as Junior Johnson and others watch. We'll be back in a moment. We hope you're enjoying today's live coverage of the Transouth 500 Winston Cup race from Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. We are just a little more than 20 laps from the end of this race. And our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. By the more than 600 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the right parts at the right price. And by Budweiser, the king of beers with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. 345 of 367, and Bill Elliott continues to lead. Mark Martin is in 2nd, and Alan Kowicki was 3rd, and Sterling Marlin is between the 2.
Yeah, Sterling many laps down as a result of having been in the garage area for a long period of time early in the race. But Kowicki thought he was going to be able to get past Mark Martin because both of those cars are still doing a lot of wiggling, as you say, Denny, out there on the racetrack.
I tell you what, both those guys need some tires big time. They really are.
I think Harry Gant's going to run those 2 cars down and finish 2nd if there's not a caution flag. Bill Elliott is the leader, and Harry Gant continues to pull away from him, but does he have enough time to
catch Elliott? No, I don't think he does.
I don't think he does.
Bramfield summary again.
And I got to get my hats off to Bill Elliott. Back earlier on when he made a run at Harry Gant, and I said he decided, hey, I can go by him, but I want to sit back here and save my tires. That was a very, very smart move. He has really saved that car right now. He's got something to make this last 20-lap run with.
Gant, or rather Elliott, going for 4 in a row, and it's very possible that he would be going for 5 wins in a row were it not for that crash at Daytona that Elliott was involved in, yet was very competitive at the point of the crash. Black flag is being given to Sterling Marlin as came down the starter stand.
Looks like Kowicki had Martin that time, but Michael Waltrip decided to go in the pits and slow down in front of him and not able to make the pass. Kowicki's a little bit faster right now than Mark Martin, but he's having a lot of trouble getting by because his tires are just not that good.
Let's go to Jerry Punch for another report from pit road.
Bob, we're actually standing in the Bill Elliott pit, and beside me here is Tim Brewer. And Tim, you've been named Western Auto Mechanic of the Race. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Jerry. On behalf of the Budweiser racing team, all these guys in this pit area right here, they won that award. They just give it to me. You know, it's just one of those deals to where a great bunch of people, you know, great people to work with, Junior, Bill, all the guys here. You know, it's hats off to them guys, not me.
You're about 20 laps away from making it 4 in a row. It looks like possibly that Gant's not going to be able to have enough to catch you.
Well, you know, we don't count our chickens before they're hatched, but, you know, discarding bad luck, you know, it looks pretty good from right now, but, you know, the Budweiser having to go forward, you know, it's been pretty good all day. Hopefully we can keep it under for a few more laps.
That's Tim Brewer, the crew chief for Bill Elliott.
And Bill Elliott continues to be the leader, but Alan Kulwicki has gone to second, putting Mark Martin back to third, and Kulwicki did it with a pass on the high side in the second corner. And Davey Allison now goes a lap down in 5th position. 4 cars now on the lead lap. It is Elliott, Kulwicki, Martin, and Harry Gant. Bill Elliott, continuing his streak, is leading the Winston Cup race here at Darlington, trying to make it 4 consecutive wins. And we're on lap 354. We're looking for second place. Bill has that much of an edge on Alan Kulwicki in car number 7. Running in 3rd position, having dropped back on the racetrack recently, is Mark Martin. There he is in the Valvoline Ford.
Oh boy, Harry Gant is
there.
Really
he is.
Yeah, he's there.
There is Gant already. I mean, it's like Martin's car has just stopped, like it lost a cylinder or something.
And John Kernan has a report on Mark Martin's tires.
Talk about a guy hanging on for dear life. That certainly is Mark Martin right now. You can see moments ago as he came out of turn 4, that little wiggle that Benny and Ned and Bob have been talking about. His tires are basically gone down to the cords, and Harry Gant has gone around him. Mark is just hanging on, finished on the lead lap for a top 5 finish because he just radioed in and said, hey, the fronts are gone, the backs are going. It's a handful.
Well, he just lost 3rd position. And Harry Gant is a man on the move.
Yeah, he's moving up on Alan Kulwicki, who is running in 2nd position. Well, Kulwicki's on out front with his 2 cars right in front of him, but he's not too far behind him as he moves around Morgan Shepherd in the Citgo Ford.
You see Michael Walter there in the Pennzoil Pontiac. It looks like Michael has been in the pits in the last few laps and got some tires.
Not too long ago.
Boy, the front windshield of this Citgo Ford of Morgan Shepherd's is coated with oil. It'll be rather difficult. The sun glaring in on it. So Elliott, or rather Gant is now 3rd.
He's going to be 2nd just a little bit because Kulwicki is directly in front of him.
10 laps to go.
Let's see how fast Mark Martin's going now with these worn out tires. He's down to a...
Well, Alan Kulwicki just blew, fellas, coming off of turn 4. A big puff of smoke on that car as he pulled to the inside. Harry Gant went around him. Gant's about 14.5 seconds behind Bill Elliott.
Oh, yeah, big smoke from Alan Kulwicki. Could this be a caution? Is he spraying oil down on the racetrack?
No, I think so. He might be able to ride it out. And get, well, I don't know. It's really slowing down on him now. No, he's not going to ride that out.
Too bad, because Kulwicki, who started way back in the pack in the 25th position, had been in the top 10 and, in fact, in the top 5 most of the day, but his race ends about 8 laps short.
So Harry Gant has moved into 2nd spot, but I just don't think there's time to catch Bill Elliott.
No, he's not gaining much on him now, Benny.
Isn't he?
No, he's maybe a 1/10 of a second a lap or something like that, where he was gaining over a 1/2 a second a lap.
Kulwicki's been black by NASCAR, but I think that he's all done anyway.
Yep.
Well, if there are any bugs here at the racetrack, he'll get rid of those.
Clear the mosquitoes, hasn't it?
4 in a row.
And it continues Ford's winning streak, of course. And the last time that a Ford won here at Darlington was when Bill Elliott captured the Southern 500 in 1988. And the last Ford win at this particular race was when Elliott won in 1985.
comes lap 360, just 7 more to go. Bill Elliott, 4 in a row. You know, I just don't think anyone thought, Bill Elliott didn't think that he and Junior was going to hit it off like this.
Yeah, you knew it was going to be a strong combination of Junior and Tim and Bill, but I don't think anybody thought it was going to be this much of a combination.
I mean, this was impressive today. I mean, Bill used his head. We didn't hear from Bill Elliott for what, 300 miles?
Yep.
And all of a sudden, there he is.
And he's going to set a track record in the process, it appears, as we're almost 4 miles an hour above the track record. 139.1, the record 135.5. Now remember, America's Cup action coming up from San Diego at the conclusion of this race with Jim Kelly. Don't forget to join us for that. The baseball game tonight between the Cardinals and the Reds. We'll be back next Sunday with Winston Cup racing from Bristol International Raceway, where they have made some changes to the track. They've flattened out the corners, repaved the track, and it is super fast, I hear, in testing. Should be good.
Yeah, they flattened out the corner.
And they've taken the bowl out of the corners. And,
it's just as banked as much as ever, and it's faster than ever.
And that race starts at 12 o'clock this year. It's been 1 o'clock in the past, so it's 12 noon.
Oh, really? In Bristol? 12 noon. I'll have to get up early next week.
Yeah.
We'll be getting off the air fairly quickly after we talk to the winner of the race. We'll definitely do that for you. But as soon as that's completed, we'll be getting out to San Diego with the America's Cup competition. So we're going to show you a final field summary here so that you can get an indication of perhaps where your guy is going to finish, with only 3 cars now on the lead lap.
7th place car, Victor, but 2 laps down. He, Bodine, Labonte, Earnhardt, all those cars. Kulwicki still credited for 11th spot, 3 laps down. He is in the garage here with a blown engine.
We now have 3 laps to go, 364 circuits complete.
I think we mentioned that Bobby Hamilton went out of the race a little while ago in the Country Town Oldsmobile, last year's Rookie of the Year winner. Bill Elliott, we're just cruising around.
Yeah, Harry Gant came up about a quarter of a lap, about 10 or 12 seconds short from a race, an exciting race for the
So we have 2 more laps to go now, and that field summary gave you an indication of where they are right now in terms of standings, and that will probably be the final standings of this race. 1.5 laps to go for Bill Elliott. And the Ford streak will go to 9 in a row. Not since Charlotte in the fall has Ford lost a Winston Cup race. Here's the white flag for Bill Elliott. 1 more lap to go.
How about since the North Wilkesboro race? That's when Dale Earnhardt won, and then Ford did win the race at Charlotte.
Last lap for Elliott. I would imagine that Budweiser crew. There's a race for position.
Yeah, the 26 car of Brett Bodine has.
No, I don't think that was for position. Bodine is a lap down.
You're right. Yeah, Brett is in 5th.
That's what I get to think.
Here comes Elliott off the corner. Checkered flag is waiting. There it is. Elliott wins his 4th consecutive Winston Cup race in 1992. Unbelievable. 4 in a row. Harry Gant has crossed the line. He'll finish in 2nd spot, and Mark Martin will bring home the Valvoline Ford in 3rd spot. And we'll be back to talk to Awesome Bill, who's won again, when we return to Darlington, South Carolina. The Transouth 500 is over at Darlington, and the winner is Bill Elliott, who has pulled his Budweiser Ford into victory lane. He's getting the helmet off, and momentarily will be climbing out of the race car, and we'll be talking with him. Awesome Bill wins his 4th consecutive event of the 92 season. And this time, unlike the win at Atlanta, it was earned. Here's the Kodak Winner's Circle interview and Dr. Jerry Punch.
And as he climbs out of the car, gentlemen, you hear the crowd? Congratulations, Bill, 4 in a row.
I'll tell you what, there at the first, we're running along there, and we never could get everything just right. Car was a little bit loose, and behind other cars it'd be tight. So we tightened the car up. Then their pit stops got me caught up there. Tim had a little bit of problem with a air gun one time. We got a little bit behind, and they got me caught back up. And right there at the end, we put a little bit of wedge in the car. That's all it took.
Were they telling you the interval with Harry Gant? I mean, he was coming in a hurry, but you had quite an advantage.
Well, we knew he had a long way to go, and I was doing everything I could there at the end to save a car. I mean, it was just a perfect day. I mean, I don't know. We just keep doing everything right. I don't know what to say. I mean, they're making it easy for me. I'm just riding.
And he's smiling. And Awesome Bill has a brand new nickname for 1992. He is Mr. March. Bob?
Riding and smiling. Bill Elliott in victory lane once again. Congratulations to Bill with a great victory here this afternoon. And we'll be back in just a moment to wrap things up and get things settled down as Bill Elliott visits victory lane once again in 1992. Back after this. Victory lane being occupied here at Darlington Raceway by Bill Elliott, who has won the Trans-South 500, beating Harry Gant, who finished in second position, tried very hard to close in and win the race, but Harry ended up second. Mark Martin finished in third. A lap down in fourth was Davey Allison, and Ricky Rudd came back to finish in fifth spot. Sixth, Brett Bodine, then Dick Trickle, Jeff Bodine, Terry Labonte, and Dale Earnhardt finishes in 10th position. Then 11th was Rusty Wallace. Ken Schrader was 12th. Morgan Shepherd, Michael Waltrip 14th, and Ted Musgrave with another good run. He finishes in 15th position here in the Trans-South 500. Derry Cope was 16th, followed by Rick Mast. Bob Schacht was 18th. Jimmy Means 19th, and Dale Jarrett, despite some transmission problems, finished in 20th position. Continuing to run down the final standings, Sterling Marlin finished in 22nd spot. Bobby Hamilton 23rd. Alan Kulwicki had a blown engine in late going, was down to 24th, and Dave Marcus finished in 25th spot. Ernie Irvin, Kyle Petty, Greg Sachs, Hut Strickland, Wally Dallenbach 26 through 30, and then the final five finishing here in the Trans-South 500 today. Well, don't forget, we'll continue with our Winston Cup coverage next Sunday afternoon as we bring you the Food City 500 live at 12 o'clock. Now, from horsepower to wind power, we go to San Diego. Jim Kelly has America's Cup Racing. Jim, take it away.